Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Oh, it's game week, but you knew that already. We've got the game releases out, which means we have depth charts. And we have depth charts observations to get to this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday. Robert, Lucas, and me with you until 1 o'clock. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate throughout the course of the show. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch is where you can live stream us if you want to. We have the dumbest thing in sports this week. Do we have more things to give away at 11 o'clock, potentially?
Assumably.
Okay. Then you don't reek of confidence in your voice. Rarely do you, but in that case in particular, you seem uncertain.
I am uncertain, but that's more on me than it is on anyone else that I haven't checked yet. But I will update you momentarily.
Well, I mean, you've been conditioned to assume that there's just nothing in there until we yell at somebody about it, so one would understand. But we do have the depth chart released as we have the game book for the Broncos and the Titans, which is typically the way that the team sends us all the materials that we might need to preview said game, all the different things, connections, stats, historical facts and figures, and things of the like. But it also comes with a depth chart, and there were several observations that you could pull, most notably 2 young players that are going to be presumably starters in Denver, in Cedric Gray and Alec Iamaner, which is something that I think if you've been following along with the Titans at all this summer, you're probably cognizant of the fact that they are very excited about Alec Iamaner being in this offense. But it's going to be him, it's going to be Calvin Ridley, it's going to be Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson is there as a buffer. And then Cedric Gray appears to have outright won the job alongside Cody Barton, at least for now, in the signing yesterday of, what's White's first name?
You can do it.
I don't think I know it.
Come on, so-called Titans reporter. You can do it.
It's not Zamir, is it?
It starts with a K.
K?
You can do it.
No, it doesn't start with a K.
It sure does.
Why did I think it started with a Z?
Kaiser White.
Okay, very good.
Yes, so they have not made that official. The reporting was that he would be added to the Titans practice squad. So we'll see what that looks like on game day. Punt return, Chimere Dike, Tyler Lockett listed as his backup. So we'll see if a James Prochet game day elevation is in the future on Sunday.
I would think for at least the early goings, I would think that him and Corey Levin are going to be up.
Sure, but it's DK's job. Like, DK's going to be back there.
Unless he does something, which is why they have James Prochet. I mean, it does something to the negative as opposed to the affirmative. I suppose he could always take the job and run with it, which is what you're hoping for. I assume it's what they're hoping for. And this is, I mean, the kind of stuff that we've talked about all offseason long. It's the kind of stuff that they've talked about all offseason long. They're just going to be leaning on a ton of young players and as many different vets like the kind of players that they've brought in via practice squad, via free agency, are really just there, as far as the veterans go, are really just there as a buffer in case something goes wrong with the young players that they're going to put out on the field.
No other real surprises on the depth chart, which is unsurprising.
But it's
in
been
and of
chalked the
itself.
whole way through,
Yes.
right? Like, it's just, they have what they have, and they're going to try and find as much as they can off waiver claims and things that become available to them. But beyond that,
Yeah.
that's where we are.
C.J. Ravenel, Jeffrey Simmons' backup, who they claimed off the waiver wire, former Raven. And speaking of former Ravens, Jalen Armour-Davis is CB2 behind Jarvis Brownlee Jr.
Yeah, and I suppose that shouldn't be a surprise, right, Robert? I mean, he's been in the league long enough. He's a solid veteran option. The really only thing that's been keeping him down is the fact that he's played only, 15 games in the last 2 seasons, I believe, due to injury?
It's something like that, but it is noteworthy, and I've brought this quote up before. All through the offseason, and not just this offseason, but the previous offseasons, Zach Orr, other specialist coaches have said that he was the smartest guy in the DB room. So it is not surprising to me that he would be able to pick up Denard's scheme given his experience in it, but also given his intelligence in the matter. So like it makes sense to me that he would be CB2. A little surprised just because of how new he is, but it makes sense because of the praise he's received from other coaches.
Shai Tuttle, Tavondre Sweat's backup, also noted in the middle of this. So a veteran defensive lineman that they were able to add late in the process, going to probably see some snaps throughout the course of it. And Tavondre Sweat returning to practice. Denard Wilson was asked about him yesterday. They're talking about the fact that he seems to have slimmed down a little bit. And hopefully, as far as that part of it goes, it's more about him being in shape as opposed to him missing time or losing muscle mass or anything. But it seems, I don't think a tonsillectomy should hold him down too terribly much. I don't know how it affects his dietary habits. What is the diet of somebody who has a tonsillectomy? I'm not familiar.
I would imagine a lot of like smoothies, yogurt, like that type of thing.
Milkshake. You get some ice cream when your tonsils are hurt.
Is it like when you get your wisdom teeth out and you can't eat solid food? I don't know. It's actually a good question.
It's the rare good question.
I had some friends as kids that got their tonsils removed.
So Brian Callahan will speak to the media, and now we're on a normal schedule, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice. It's a road game week, so Saturday will be travel, and then Sunday the game. And it'll be like that the rest of the way through because the Titans don't have a Monday night game. They don't have a Sunday night game. They don't have a Thursday night game. So everything is routine from here on out, unless, the unthinkable happens and the Titans win more games than we expect them to, and they end up getting flexed, and we can have that conversation at such a time if such a thing exists. But as far as the things that we need to know about this football team, it's really just, all right, of the guys who we are keeping an eye on, Lloyd Cushenberry and L'Jarius Sneed in particular are both going to be full go by the time we get to Denver on Sunday. And there's more reason to be optimistic about Lloyd Cushenberry, but we also get the first injury report of the season. That will probably, I think they typically release those about 3 o'clock. It'll be later this afternoon. So right around the time that 3HL is on the air, you will have more information on that. Cam Ward is also going to speak after practice today. That will not be while we are on the air. It'll be sometime between Blaine and Zach and 3HL. I imagine whomever that falls on in the programming lineup will carry the quarterback's press conference today. So as we move forward with this, I guess, who is it most important to have for Denver? L'Jarius Sneed or Lloyd Cushenberry? It probably still is Lloyd Cushenberry.
It's Lloyd
right?
Cushenberry. It's Lloyd Cushenberry. Yeah. I mean, that's the answer for. We can't say that Cam Ward's the most important thing about this season for the Titans and then say that a cornerback, while very important for the Titans this year and while needed, is more important to be on the field than a guy who is directly related to Cameron Ward's success this year. It has to be Lloyd Cushenberry. Yeah. He's one of the most, like, if you're to list, the 3 of the most important players for the Titans this season, I feel like Lloyd has to be on that list because of his relationship with Cam.
Well, professional relationship, certainly, and you hope that they have a personal relationship as well as teammates, but that's all well and good. They just need as many good pieces and parts, as many reliable pieces and parts. It's not to say that Corey Levin's not reliable, but we'll continue to monitor that. I'm sure Lloyd Cushenberry, open locker room. They did have open locker room on Monday. I don't know if Lloyd Cushenberry was one of the players that spoke at his locker, but we can go back and find that for you. As we move forward through this, it's going to be fun to see. I just wish we had a better opening kickoff game. I know we're going to get to headlines here in just a second, but I don't want to see the Cowboys on TV. I mean, a Cowboys more interesting now that Micah Parsons not on them. They've been in the news all over the place that he was traded a week ago, or a little less than a week ago, opening against the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions. I wish we had a better matchup for Philadelphia than Dallas.
I mean, like it or not, there is intrigue because of the Parsons stuff. Philly, unsurprisingly, a pretty big favorite. Last I checked, it was more than a touchdown. I don't know how much that line has moved since the Parsons move.
Did you have a guess, Buck? I wish Lucas wouldn't have given you the touchdown spread, but I saw what it was at this morning.
On Dallas Philly?
Yes.
I'm going to say 7.5.
8.5.
8.5.
I thought it was going to be 6.5. That was my. I was like, oh yeah, this will be a fun game to bet. And then you see it's 7.5 opening, and it's just so large of a point spread. Week one or not, Cowboys or not, it's tough to.
I'm so jealous that you can bet on the NFL.
Yeah,
I feel like it would be way more fun.
Sometimes I'll do proposal bets where it's like I don't even get to place it because I'm so poor. I just bought a ring. I have nothing. Anything that I have
didn't you weasel your way into some kind of a deal on said ring?
Even with a deal on said ring, all of my life's accomplishments are sitting on that woman's finger. So I would love for her to, get a big, what's it called? Not a proposal, a promotion. Yes, be the leader of all Marriott hotels in the greater Nashville area.
I would also love that because I'm a Marriott person, and I will take any Marriott hookups that Cheyenne is willing to provide.
The funniest outcome of Thursday night would be Saquon Barkley rushing for like 220 yards after the Cowboys trade away Micah Parsons to stop the run.
And I mean, did you guys listen to that Jerry press conference afterwards?
We played some of it Friday.
Oh, my God. Listening to Jerry Jones mansplain run defense to the greater Dallas and NFL consuming public. And I mean, to his point, that's one of the worst areas on their football team last year. But God almighty.
But the idea that the only way to fix it is to trade your maybe the best defensive player in the league.
Rusher.
That's a tough one, Jerry.
I have such respect for the hubris of Jerry Jones. As an ego monster myself, I hope one day that I can achieve full Jerry status. But, I think I've got a lot of work to do in that department. But speaking of the NFL and NFL at large, we'll do some NFL headlines, and we'll do them coming up next. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you if you're experiencing performance issues, because erectile dysfunction can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help. Since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of guys get back to feeling like themselves. And they aren't cookie-cutter treatments that are on offer. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Whether you're dealing with mild or moderate ED, performance issues, or even conditions like Peyronie's disease, their medical team will work with you to create a plan that gets results, often with options most guys didn't even know were out there. The initial appointment is only $99 and includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and, if medically advised, a test dose right there in the office. So call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090, or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
It's time for NFL headlines with Lucas Panzica.
Week 1 of the NFL season and one of the most intriguing matchups from a pure storyline perspective. We'll see how intriguing it actually is when the ball kicks off. Would be Jets versus Steelers. Aaron Rodgers against his former team, the beginning of the Rodgers experiment in Pittsburgh, the Justin Fields experiment with the New York Jets and new head coach Aaron Glenn. Jets guard Elijah Vera Tucker has, according to Diana Rossini, suffered a, quote, potential serious injury, which could have him missing significant time. Starting with some O-line news with headlines. So a lot of vagueness there. Potentially serious and could have him miss significant time. Very secretive.
Well, that's such an unfortunate injury, depending on how much time he ends up missing, right? Because he missed, 10 games in 2022. He had torn triceps. 12 games in 2023. He was reasonably healthy last year. I think he played in 15 of the possible 17 regular season games. But as a former first-round pick, they have gotten such precious little return on investment out of him, and they have invested a ton of draft capital in the offensive line. It's not quite to the extent of like the Titans, where they've drafted, Isaiah Wilson. They've drafted Dylan Radins in the first and second round, and they've just been chasing, and these players don't pan out. Like Elijah Vera Tucker should be a good football player, is a good football player, but just continues to miss time with injury. And that should be a strength of the Jets. It wasn't that one of the two things, or one of the handful of things that you guys were mocking on the Don't Be Surprised column from Dan Graziano if the Jets led the league in rushing this year? That's based on the strength of the projected strength of their offensive line. So that really sucks for him as a player, especially because he's in the final year of his contract.
And doubly so for the Jets offensive line, because to his right is rookie Armand Membu.
Yeah.
And the reason...
Who is a hoss, by the way. He is a certified ass kicker out there in the preseason.
So a huge ass kicker, but also the reason that he was fell a little bit or wasn't as a highly touted tackle prospect as initially thought of is because a lot of people thought he would have to move to guard. Short arms, smaller body type, like aggressive, great running style, but now he doesn't have that mauler next to him that provides that larger body type that would complement him so well. So if he cannot go, they only have one other guard who is not in a starting position, who is former undrafted free agent Xavier Newman, who would have to slide in and start at right guard next to someone who would be taking their first snaps in the NFL.
Was Xavier Newman on the Titans? Why does that name sound familiar? Like as one of these practice squad guys. Anyway, I don't want to bog us down there. What else you got?
I'll continue to bog us down with more offensive line news.
Oh, good.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have extended right tackle Luke Gedeke a 4-year, $90 million extension, $50 million in guaranteed money. So they have locked down their two tackles. Tristan Wirfs, a year ago, signed a 5-year extension. He will obviously miss the, I believe, first 4 weeks of the regular season, right? I believe he was placed on injured reserve as the initial 53 came out. He and Chris Godwin will miss the first 4 games. But that ESPN FPI simulation had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as NFC champions at the end of the season. Their first 4 games are the Texans on the road. Falcons on the road. So big divisional matchup to kick the season off. Then Texans on the road in week 2. Their home opener is week 3 against the Jets, and then the Eagles in week 4 at home.
This is not quite, it's Bucs adjacent, but Liam Cohen goes from the offensive coordinator of the Jaguars, of the Bucs, to the head coach of the Jaguars. But so much of that offensive success in Tampa Bay was because they have an excellent offensive line unit. Like, they've really done well to fortify things in front of Baker Mayfield the last couple of years. And I think so much of what has made them successful is because they've got one of the better units in the sport. Going from Tampa Bay to Jacksonville is going to be, it's just like the first thing that pops into my mind because, Tampa, we've talked about this before. Tampa is just one of the most underrated football programs in the NFL. They're just excellent. Year in, year out. I know they play in a crap division, but I think that they deserve more shine than they actually get.
Well, they quietly have just a really good roster, top to bottom. They bring in Hassan Reddick on the edge, so we'll see if that adds any juice to their pass rush. He complements Yaya Diaby. And then if they can get anything out of Chris Braswell, the former Alabama, what was he, a second-round pick?
Correct.
Out of Alabama. So, put it this way. if this roster applied to the Titans fans would be screaming Super Bowl.
Oh.
Right? Like, just to put it into context.
Honestly, you're
if,
probably not wrong.
If anyone's driving around saying the Bucs, please, the Bucs as contenders this year, if you applied this roster to your football team, whoever you cheered for, you would be saying we should be Super Bowl contenders. That's just what it is. Like Baker Mayfield at this point has stacked seasons with multiple different play callers, has had career season after career season. The last couple of years in Tampa, Bucky Irving, Rashad White, the running backs, one of the best wide receiver rooms in the NFL when healthy. And even without Chris Godwin Jr. for the first 4 weeks, a really strong wide receiver room with Mike Evans and the rookie Emeka Egbuka alone. So, I don't scoff at the idea of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers making a deep run in the NFC playoffs with the step back the Lions could take with the wild card that is J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. And you're looking around at, okay, Washington with Jaden Daniels, the Eagles with Jalen Hurts are obstacles, and who knows who else will emerge. Nobody expected the Commanders to do what they did last year. But I'm not going to scoff at the idea of the Bucs contending to win the NFC in 2025.
Who's the best team in the NFC? It would be easy to say Philadelphia, but I'm genuinely curious to see what their defense looks like. Because, think about, we talk about the week one matchup or the opening kickoff matchup of Dallas at Philly. Dallas should be a competent offense, should they not? Certainly a competent passing game. I know Pickens has attitude problems. Reported attitude problems. We don't know anything about it from firsthand experience, but everything that you hear about Pittsburgh and the reason why he's not in Pittsburgh anymore. But the two of them, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, they should be a problem for whomever they face. And Philadelphia has undergone a significant amount of roster change. They're starting a ton of first and second year players. So I don't know. Detroit is a question mark with the coordinators moving on, both coordinators moving on to become head coaches. Minnesota is a complete unknown because of the most important position being a complete unknown with the quarterback change that they made. Who is the best team in the NFC? Why can't it be the Bucs?
Before we move on to the next point, you were correct. Xavier Newman was once a Titan.
Oh,
if you'll remember,
he was my Titans reporter skills. Xavier Newman, one game.
He was the surprise starter for a week one game over Dylan Radins, where everyone was like, "Oh my God, this guy must really be a player. He's going to play over him."
And he was terrible.
He ended up playing against the Dallas Cowboys and was cut later in October. Yeah, and he's been with the Jets ever since.
By the way, the Bucs over/under win total per FanDuel Sportsbook 9.5 wins.
Ooh, I would bet the over. In that stinky division, although didn't the Falcons sweep them last year? That was one of the weirder wrinkles in the NFL.
Falcons
NFL
swept them
results.
and still blew the division.
Imagine being a Falcons fan. I know Titans fans have gone through it the last couple of years, but that seems to be which insurance company has the commercial where it's the old man with the fishing rod and he's got the dollar bill
State
on
Farm.
it? State Farm.
They got to be quicker than that.
That feels like the perpetual existence of a Falcons fan. Got to be quicker than that.
Bucs win totals since 2020: 11-5, 13-4, 8-9, 9-8, 10-7. So that 9.5 is really straddling the line there.
Yeah, no doubt.
By the way, quickly, let's remind you to join 3HL as they broadcast live from T-Line next Monday, 3 to 6 p.m. If you're looking for a unique experience, T-Line is a one-of-a-kind facility. It offers a full-service restaurant, sports bar, 28 TVs, and it features boutique bowling and 3 regulation Olympic-sized sheets of dedicated curling ice. So go watch some football and enjoy some curling with 3HL at T-Line on Monday.
Recently went there on a date with Cheyenne. It was a lot of fun.
That's right.
We
were
talked
telling us about that.
Because I told you that it's owned by Mark Bulger,
correct,
NFL quarterback.
Yes.
There you go. Check out 3HL there Monday.
Wasn't it like Bullock and Jared Allen and a bunch of other former NFL players? Weren't they training to try and become a legitimate curling team at T-Line? I think that was a story a couple of years ago.
Oh, that would be cool. Just the cool runnings of football coming into curling.
I think it was a thing. I think it was, that's been several years ago. I can't remember exactly, but still.
Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, I get it. They're locking down one of their best corners, but it is tough to be a Cowboy fan and watch them trade away Micah Parsons after being unable to pay him and then sign cornerback Deron Bland on a 4-year, $92 million deal, $50 million in guaranteed money. The thing with Deron Bland last year was pick sixes, right? And
Yeah, but
I don't know how sustainable that is for a corner to
not sustainable.
Score 5 touchdowns, which either tied or it is an NFL record, 5 touchdowns. He had 209 yards off his 9 interceptions and 5 scores. It was unlike anything we've ever seen before, and congrats to him. It helps him to a $92 million extension. But just insult to injury for Cowboy fans.
Sure.
I understand it's like half the money almost that Micah Parsons made in Green Bay, but woof.
This is, Robert, I'm sure you'll agree with me. He just gets lucky. Like, good for him for getting a payday out of it. I'm not mad at Deron Bland. I would be livid if I was a Cowboys fan. He's not an overwhelmingly good corner. Like, I don't think he's a bad corner.
He's the 6th highest paid corner in the NFL.
And he is not that. Like, he is not that by skill, by competency. He has been right place, right time, or he was right place, right time in a way that I don't think you could recreate in a science experiment. Even in this simulation that, who's the guy for ESPN.com that ran the full season simulation?
It's Seth Walder, but
I don't think
they're FPI, the Football Power Index.
Whatever metrics or analytics or AI that you're using to run a simulation, I don't think you could recreate a season like that in a lab for a corner. That is such a smack in the face if you are a Cowboys fan. And other than maybe he was one of the few highlights that you had last year because it was a season that didn't go to plan. You had quarterback injuries that derailed you. But like, God, they stay. You want to talk about an organization that regularly spits in their fan base's face? It is the Cowboys. It is absolutely the Cowboys.
To your point about his stats being middling, great turnover numbers. No one's disparaging that. But in coverage, allowing a 60% completion clip, allowing 4 yards on average or 4 touchdowns on average a year. Like to your point, he's a good player, but he is
fine,
not.
But he's not the 6th
best.
best corner.
100%. But the thing both of you are overlooking is, okay, they let Micah walk. Okay, they paid this guy who maybe not worth all that money. They extended the fullback though. Hunter Lumpke got a new deal. A rare year 3 extension for a fullback. We love that. The Cowboys have to be trending in a way. There's no way that you guys could say that just because they're investing in the archaic fullback position that they wouldn't be a good team this year.
Also worth noting, and a good correction by your old pal Dixie, Lucas, that the Bland pick 6 record was 2 years ago.
Oh, it was, yeah.
He played in only 7 games last year.
Yeah, my mistake. That was 2 years ago.
With 0 interceptions.
7 games, 0 picks. Yeah.
That's so good.
Former 5th rounder out of Fresno State.
And that's kind of both their guys in the secondary, right? Travion Diggs, big gambler.
But he's hurt, isn't he?
He is hurt. He gets a lot of picks, but he also gets burnt a lot by being too aggressive, like the Marcus Peters syndrome.
Yeah.
So they have 2 gamblers like this, where it's like, okay, you could roll 7s or you could roll 11s.
Well, hope Cowboy fans enjoy the latest episode of Jerry Jones' Netflix docuseries.
His propaganda series.
I haven't watched it. I heard it's actually good.
Okay, I enough people asked me if I had watched it that I felt compelled to start watching it, and it is like you want to like Jerry Jones when you watch this thing, but it is nothing but a propaganda machine for Jerry Jones. Like, Jerry looks like the coolest thing in the world, and his feud with Jimmy Johnson, who is the most responsible for all of his success as a Cowboys owner, is, downplayed to an extent. Like, they do get good access from Jimmy in the middle of these conversations, and it's a good look inside what those 90s Cowboys teams were at the very height of their powers. Michael Irvin is super compelling in the middle of all of it. Like, you'll enjoy it, even if it's just like, oh, this is just meant to make Jerry look good.
Yeah, like I don't care about that stuff as long as it's entertaining. I could care less about the picture it's trying to paint. I just want to be entertained when I watch those things.
But if you're a Cowboys fan, you want an accurate representation of your organization, and that is not it.
Be tearing your hair out watching that thing.
Do you feel bad for Cowboys fans?
Yeah, I actually kind of do. Like, I feel bad for the actual Cowboy fans out there, like the genuine ones.
Oh, you mean not like the Lakers, Cowboys?
Fans of
those people,
Alabama
football fans.
What
are those people doing today, by the way? Are they jumping ship?
Yeah, those people aren't even worth, he's like, they're just kind of over here. But actual Cowboy fans, I mean, just Dallas fans.
Yeah.
How can you not?
Fans.
How can you not have some pity?
God almighty.
With the Luka Doncic and Micah Parsons stuff happening within the same calendar year. It's crazy. Adam Schefter putting this out there. I guess the Jags actually put it out there with their depth chart, Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick, listed as a starting wide receiver and a backup cornerback for the Jags.
When's the first Jags game? Titans-Jags. It's later in the year, right?
It is later, yeah, because they play the Colts and Texans early, but they don't play the Jags for some time. By the way, while I'm looking for that, if I'm not mistaken, Travis Hunter only played one preseason game. And in that preseason game, oh, great, I just had it in front of me.
I can find it for you if you need to look something else up, or I can stall if you want to look that up. All that to say, like, are the Jags must-watch TV just because of Travis Hunter?
I'm interested.
I am very, very interested because, as we've brought up multiple times, what they are trying to do has never been done. A full-time wide receiver that is going to be a part-time corner, as opposed to a full-time corner who's going to have some offensive packages, which we've seen multiple times. Hell, we've seen it here in Tennessee with Adoree Jackson. I guess he was more out of the backfield than he was split out wide.
11 snaps on offense, 8 snaps on defense in his lone preseason appearance, Travis Hunter.
So I feel like I'm going to be seeking out Jags games on Game Pass weekly just out of curiosity. I mean, I'm going to have to wait till Tuesday probably to watch them just because of what Sundays and Mondays typically are for us.
Titans don't play the Jags until November 30th.
Yeah, I mean, I want him to obviously be healthy. I want to see what that matchup looks like, but I'm going to be watching him all year long. I think, like, there are very few players who I'm going to just seek out and watch just them all season long. I think Travis Hunter is going to be one of them. I don't know how it couldn't be.
Keep it in the AFC South. More quarterback news. The Texans open the season with the LA Rams, who the Titans will open their home slate with in week 2. And Sean McVay saying Matt Stafford is going to start against Houston. This has been kind of a weird situation all throughout training camp. He's missed time. He's missed practice. Sean McVay has kind of set expectations at certain points that Stafford will be back, and then he wouldn't come back as he dealt with the back stuff, and he's doing the regenerative therapy thing where it looks like he's walking it. Robert, what did you...
Oh, it's an Alvaro Levine situation, right? It's being alleged that he's been cloned?
That Matt Stafford has been cloned?
Yes, in that rejuvenation chamber that the Rams have parked that looks like an Airstream RV camp.
Yes. So he will apparently play. He has been practicing in the latter part of training camp. Obviously hasn't played in the preseason game. Stetson Bennett actually has carried all of the QB reps in the entirety of the preseason. He's got to be the only quarterback in the preseason to get 100% of the offensive snaps for his team in all 3 preseason games. Like, he's got to be, right? Like, that just doesn't happen. Yeah. Most teams are playing 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the preseason. So they will open at SoFi Stadium. Texans at Rams Sunday at 3:25. So they'll kick off 20 minutes after the Titans.
Jack Longley with a funny comment on YouTube where you can stream the show, and you can also call us, 615-737-1045. He says, Texans, you have a job. Lose, but also sack Stafford 8 times in the process because, of course, the Titans' home opener is the Los Angeles Rams coming to Nissan Stadium for a noon kickoff. And
it's a pretty good Texans pass rush.
It is an excellent Texans, or it should be an excellent Texans pass rush. They have emphasized that as much as any position on their roster. It's really wide receiver and front 7 is what seems to be the thing that they've been continuing to regenerate or add pieces and parts to. The Stafford thing feels like a worst case scenario for the Titans because the splits on him, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the splits on Matt Stafford when kept clean versus when he's under duress are night and day. Like, he looks like an old man when you can get pressure on him, which, I'm sure you could say about any quarterback, but he's 37 and he's got a bad back and he's coming off a bunch of different injuries. And if you can bother him, turns out he looks a lot more mortal than Matt Stafford typically does. But for a team like the Titans, like you are actively rooting for the Houston Texans to just bludgeon him, because if you get a good version of Matt Stafford in week 2 and you're a team that is going to have some questions around your ability to create pressure on the quarterback, Matt Stafford can come in here and tear you up.
And a little bit more quarterback news. Jackson Dart is officially the backup in the New York Giants. He is behind Russell Wilson. Jameis Winston is QB3. What is the over-under of weeks that will go by in the NFL regular season before Giants fans are screaming, clamoring for Jackson Dart to come in for Russell Wilson.
Let's look at their schedule. Do you have your schedule? I've got it pulled up in front. So they open at Commanders, at Cowboys, home Chiefs and Chargers. Ugh.
Yeah, that's a tough 4-game slate. So I'm going to go over-under at 2.5 weeks, 2.5 games before Giants fans are losing their minds because they're not playing the rookie first-round pick.
Steve Spagnuolo was going to have Russell Wilson in a blender, one would imagine. I'm fascinated to see what the Dallas defense ends up looking like.
He's not going to see Micah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Washington was not an overwhelmingly great front seven unit last year, but they're good enough.
Jack on the FNM Bank chat says
2.5.
Jack says Giants fans are already there. So maybe they are. I don't know.
I don't know. I saw a lot of Russell Wilson love from the preseason.
I'm going to text. I have one buddy, a born and raised Jersey buddy, that is the biggest diehard Giants fan that I think I will ever meet. I'm going to text him. I'm going to do some research real quick.
I think I'm going to take under 2.5. I feel like Giants fans are just miserable. They want everybody fired. They want to see the first round pick. If you're, I don't know, you almost want to sacrifice Russell Wilson to the Wolves in that kind of situation. You don't want to throw Jackson Dart out there against Kansas City's defense, do you?
But you'd have to wonder with them worrying about their jobs, too. You'd have to hope that Jackson Dart starts some game, so you would have some hope to sell the owners to be like, hey, we've got this guy really rolling. Like, next year will be better. Like, look, we have some promise.
Like, if you're Dayball, you're going to the Mara family and being like, listen, we're going to start Russ because our schedule sucks at the start.
Right.
And if it looks really bad, give us the first month of the season to ride it out with Russ, and then we'll put the rookie in, and we'll see what we can make, because then it's at Saints, home for the – God, it doesn't really get much easier. At Saints, home for Eagles, at Broncos, at Eagles again.
Okay, so I texted my buddy. He has responded.
That was a fast response.
A very fast response. Shout out Colin Azaparty. So –
that is not a real last
no,
name.
It is real. It's real.
Hey, did he ever host anything where he's like, Colin has a party, or like he never did anything like
missed
that?
opportunity.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Colin
could have been a club.
Colin can always throw a good party. So what do we think his answer was? Give me either number of weeks or already there.
0.5.
I'm going to say already there.
He says, I'm already there.
Yeah.
Although the schedule starts so brutally that I wouldn't hate Russ to go 0-4 and throw Dart into an easy situation at New Orleans. That's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what you're looking for.
Every single schedule sucks when you suck. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a terrible team, no one's ever going to look at the schedule and be like, why don't we play any bad teams? You are the bad team. You are the bad team that other people...
that everybody is circling. Be like, we got to get that.
I love it.
Can we get tickets to this game? Like, you were the bad game. It's kind of like the friend groups that are like, if your friend groups are doing this, you are the annoying friend. It's like, you are the annoying friend. Giants, you are the annoying friend.
Those are the headlines.
Very good. SEC observations are next.
Bama fans are using that exact same tone anytime they say Kalen DeBoer's name now down there in Tuscaloosa. Oh, there's like message board rumors coming out about Alabama players sneaking around the hotel at 2 a.m. and getting DoorDash at 2:30 and now sneaking in girlfriends, and former quarterbacks are talking about their NIL resources.
The losses and stuff like that. It's just everywhere. We were just talking about Feinbaum callers with Pate. What was that, last week?
Yeah.
That he came in. I'm sure you saw the legend, one of his most famous callers, legend from Alabama, crashing out on air saying, if I had to pick between pulling the plug on you on life support or charging my phone, I'd charge my phone.
Yep, things are going great in Tuscaloosa. As I said yesterday, full-blown existential crisis happening among the Alabama fan base. A people came out yesterday, and it's something that doesn't matter. No rankings matter until the college football playoff rankings come out, but every fan base likes to see what that little number next to their team name is on a score bug watching a game. Ohio State, the new number one team in the country, deservedly so, after knocking off Texas, stifling Texas at home. Penn State, number 2. LSU moves up to 3. Georgia rounds out the top 4. Miami making the jump up to 5. Other SEC teams in the top 10 include Texas at 7 and South Carolina jumping up to number 10 after their win over Virginia Tech. Florida, number 13. Oklahoma, 18. A&M, 19. Ole Miss, 20. Alabama falls out of the top 10 all the way to number 21, where they are just one spot ahead of Tennessee at number 22, who's ahead of number 23, Indiana. So,
by the way, dodged a bullet in their opener.
Yeah, Old Dominion.
You see how close it was?
Yep, it was not not a cruising week one for Indiana. Robert brought up this question this week. Who was week one a liar for? And I love this question because the discourse, I don't know if you saw Mike Wilbon's rant on Pardon the Interruption yesterday. He went on a beautiful rant. It might be my Friday Fire on Friday, just about how, why does everybody's takeaway have to be so extreme? So extreme.
Well, it's funny that Wilbon would be the one saying that, given what that show is built off of.
Right.
Respectfully.
Yes. But it was
which, by the way, I love Pardon the Interruption.
Oh, yeah. Legendary stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just going on about Arch Manning was the king of college football, and now he's terrible. It all has to be so extreme. So it's a great question. Who was week one a liar for? We're not going to know for a few weeks, but I put down a few options. Alabama. Was week one a liar for Alabama? Do they fix their pretty fundamental issues from week one? The question is, will week one be a wake-up call for Kalen DeBoer and Alabama? Texas. Was week one a liar for Texas? Is Arch Manning going to grow into this season, which in my opinion is much more likely than Arch Manning just continuing to struggle the way he did on the road in his first, not game as a starter, but first game as the guy with the keys against arguably the best defense in all of college football? Was week one a liar for Tennessee? We've seen Tennessee coaches and players celebrating in Atlanta, putting on that leather helmet after beating NC State in 2012, and Tyler Bray and Cordero Patterson and Justin Hunter had themselves a day against that NC State team that was bringing back a ton of talent, and David Emerson, who led college football with 13 interceptions the year prior. There was so much hype. Tennessee went 5-7. Granted, with Derek Dooley at the helm.
Did you just hiccup?
No, not to my knowledge.
There was a squeak.
In 2017, Tennessee edged out Georgia Tech in overtime under Butch Jones. Got out of there with a win, ended up going 4-8. That Georgia Tech team ended up being terrible. So we'll see. Was week one a liar for Auburn, where Jackson Arnold ran roughshod all over Baylor's defense, SEC Offensive Player of the Week. He was the lead rusher among any SEC rusher, regardless of position. 3 touchdowns on Friday. What's Baylor going to look like this year? I don't know what my answer is. It's probably Texas. Like, that's the easy out. Like, it's easy for me to say, yeah, Texas is too talented to look like that. They're not going to be playing that defense week in and week out. They're going to be playing some good defenses in some tough environments. But I just think it's so much more likely that Arch Manning is going to figure it out this season, and that Steve Sarkisian and Texas are going to look like the loaded roster that they are, than it would be that they just continue to crater like they did on Saturday.
Well, and unless, I mean, obviously you would imagine that Arch would have some level of figuring it out too, but like Sark figuring it out around Arch, right? Understanding what his quarterback's strengths and weaknesses are. now that they got a bit exposed. And again, it was going to be a slog going to Ohio State anyway to open in the Horseshoe. What about Florida State? Somebody in the chat brings up Florida State as a potential iron. I know this is SEC observation specifically, but the idea of Florida State bullying Alabama that way, one of the most talented rosters, if not the most talented roster anywhere in college football this year. What if it ends up being Florida State that looks more, mortal? They did a lot of work to flip what was a 3-win football team. 2-win football team. Inarguably the worst FBS football program last year, Power 4 FBS football program last year. I don't know. I want to see Tennessee do it again. I want to see how much of that is real because it was spectacular. I mean, that had to feel good for you. And I know Syracuse is not the toughest level of opponent, no disrespect. But
it was
that had to
slightly
be like
therapeutic.
That had to be an enjoyable situation because it's, to your point, it was the Triple Crown for Vols fans over the weekend with especially with the Nico just brutal performance, absolute slaughter at the hands of Utah.
Yeah. Sean on the F&M Bank chat says, I don't think most fans truly understand how brilliant Matt Patricia is as a defensive mind. Plus, the elite secondary and linebackers he's working with allow him to confuse and disguise so well.
And he does have that.
Exactly. So that's where I'm at with Arch in Texas. The overreaction about Arch in Texas has been extreme, and as expected after week 1. The overreaction to the Alabama stuff, I don't even think is really an overreaction. It was an absolutely disastrous opener. And that's the case for Arch. Arch did some good things. He made some NFL level throws. He was also awful. He was missing gimmies. Yeah. He was darting balls at the feet of his receivers on quick outs, on quick slants over the middle of the field. It was just off. Something felt off, but you can list reasons for that. I mean, his first time under the lights, the environment, the defense. It's so hard to come up with reasons for Alabama and what they put out there, the way they were physically dominated. It doesn't compute. And there's this thing with A.J. McCarron that comes out. He was on a podcast, McCready and Siskey is the podcast. Former Alabama and Ole Miss beat writers had the former Bama quarterback on. He said, quote, you look at these other teams that have $40 to $50 million in NIL. Alabama, and I know this for a fact, talking to multiple people in the program, Bama has less than $20 million in their NIL. Okay, and then a 247 Sports article follows. Would a coaching change matter at Alabama? As they point out, NIL. Okay, maybe that's true. But it doesn't matter for this roster because this roster is one of the most talented in the country. By every metric that we use to evaluate talent profiles of college football rosters, Alabama's is 1, 2, or 3 at worst. So maybe that's true from A.J. McCarron, but I really don't care about that when applying it to this Alabama team because it's not something that can be used then as an excuse for Kalen DeBoer and this team.
Robert, what do we have to give away for the dumbest thing in sports this week coming up next?
Oh, how could I forget that it is Winning Wednesday, your opportunity to win tickets to go see the Nashville Sounds as they host Gwinnett for Play Catch on the Field night next Wednesday. That is September 10th at First Horizon Park. The first 1,000 fans will receive a throwback windbreaker presented by First Horizon.
I bet that's cool.
Not a bad giveaway.
Sounds have some cool throwbacks.
They do.
615-737-1045 is the number. If you give us the dumbest thing in sports this week, we will send you to the Sounds game next Wednesday. 615-737-1045. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone.
11:02, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans return to the practice field today ahead of Sunday's opener at the Broncos. Brian Callahan will meet with the media at noon. You can hear that right here on The Zone. And Cam Ward will speak at 2:25 following practice. Titans put out the unofficial depth chart for Week 1 on Tuesday. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Alec Iomanner are listed as the starters at receiver. Cedric Gray, the starter next to Cody Barton at linebacker. Gray also switched his number to 33 for this season. College football, the AP poll came out Tuesday, and Ohio State is the new number 1 after they knocked off Texas last weekend. Penn State and LSU round out the top 3. The Tennessee Vols moved up 2 spots to number 22, 1 spot behind Alabama, who fell out of the top 10 after the loss to Florida State. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Every Wednesday at 11 o'clock or thereabouts, 615-737-1045. You call in. You tell us what the dumbest thing in sports this week is. This week, we'll send you to a Sounds game if you give us the single dumbest submission. But I think I hold all the cards in this particular game. We'll get to your phone calls here shortly. So, we have all seen the man who went viral for snatching Polish tennis player, I'm going to butcher his name, Kamil Majerax?
Oh, you got it.
Did I?
No, I
no
have
shot.
idea. I have no idea.
No shot.
I have no
There's
idea.
There's a lot of Polish stuff going on here that I'm really going to struggle with, so just bear with me. But the Polish tennis player competing in the U.S. Open, y'all saw the man who went viral for snatching the tennis player's game-worn hat away from a child at the U.S. Open. Now, yesterday he put out a public apology, but that was not his first reaction. The dumbest thing in sports this week is Polish CEO Peter Sazerac, I think.
Hey, 2 for 2.
Just keep gassing me up, baby. I need it. I need it today. Peter Sazerac, we'll call him, who initially went viral for this. You see him take the hat from the small child. He immediately stuffs it into his wife's purse or bag that she brought into the U.S. Open tennis arena, and then they take a selfie with the item, the hat that they've snatched away. But the thing that was his first reaction was, after this went viral, was to put out a statement. Did you guys see this statement? Did you talk about this while I was gone? It is one of the most bleep hole things I've ever seen in my life. This is the initial statement prior to the apology. Quote, "The recent incident at the tennis match has caused a disproportionate online uproar. It's all about the famous hat, of course. Yes, I took it. Yes, I did it quickly. But as I've always said, life is first come, first served. I understand that some people might not like it, but please, let's not make a global scandal out of the hat. It's just a hat. If you were faster, you would have it." I mean, this guy, I kind of respect it, but
Talk about leaning in.
Maximum bleep hole, okay? Regarding online hate, this is the best part. Regarding online hate, I remind you that insulting a public figure is subject to legal liability.
Oh, my goodness.
All offensive comments, slander, and insinuations will be analyzed for the possibility of taking the matter to court.
He threatened litigation with it.
Bleep you.
Finally,
That's crazy.
Finally, someone standing up to the tyranny that is children. What are you guys going to do with that hat? Slobber all over it? Leave it at the bottom of your toy chest? I'm glad he got that hat.
We all have seen autograph seekers at various sporting events. I am very disillusioned with adult autograph seekers. Like, I don't think anybody over the age of, let's call it 25, should be allowed to bother athletes, musicians, entertainers, actors for autographs. I think it should be children only, 25 or under. And if you end up, sending your kid down to bring you back an autograph and you sell it online or whatever you end up doing, all well and good. But these people are the worst, and this appears to be the worst of him. I don't care that he put out a public apology yesterday. This was his first response. This guy is the dumbest thing in sports this week.
Talk about commitment. Woo. My goodness. By the way, quick news. Titans officially have signed Kaiser White to the practice squad. They are releasing nose tackle Isaiah Rakes to make room. My dumbest thing in sports this week will be Dabo Swinney, who led his Clemson Tigers at home to a 17-10 loss to LSU. Good football game. Good football game between two teams that absolutely can be a threat in the college football playoff. That opinion has not changed after watching this game. But Dabo Swinney is the dumbest thing in sports for saying things like this. By the way, you're going to hear what Dabo had to say, and then you're going to hear Brian Kelly's response to it in his press conference in this clip.
It's like getting the final exam day one of class. They made a 65, we made a 58. Neither one of us were great.
We dominated him in the second half. So he's either a really good grader for, giving himself a 58, or he's a really hard grader on us, or he didn't see the second half, which that might be the case. He might not have wanted to see the second half. So, again, look, this is all past.
So Brian Kelly doing a bit of a victory lap lately after winning his first week one game.
He better win week 2, baby.
But LSU shutting out Clemson in the second half, holding Clemson to 31 yards rushing for the game. Score could have been better. They wiped away that touchdown pass to Barryon Brown. Wasn't a catch, was a catch. It absolutely should have been a catch and a touchdown. I would say LSU going on the road and beating a top 5 opponent in week 1 and shutting them out in the second half is a better grade than a 65 than what Dabo was willing to give them. So Dabo Swinney, you got to be the dumbest thing in sports this week. By the way, it sounds like you got by an AI statement. I think the statement you read was fake from the tennis situation.
I choose to believe it's real.
Yeah, you're never going to see that guy.
No, that's fine.
My dumbest thing in sports, it is a travesty. It is possibly the biggest upset since YouTube and Fox were able to reconcile their differences for the viewers of sports around the world, as it was announced this morning that Stream East has been shut down, the world's largest streaming service for free sports, where you could hop on there. You may have to click through a couple ads, but you would get to watch your team on a 35-second delay no matter where you were in the world. No blackouts, no nothing. And the world has stomped on them. It was reported this morning that 2 Egyptian owners of the Stream East company were captured.
My brothers in arms.
Well, they are now caught well within the arms of the law, and Stream East has been shut down. Where will us wayward cable cutters go to find our sports? Reddit. We will all be on Reddit.
Reddit?
Yeah. You go to Reddit, go to crack streams, meth streams, any drug plus
How many
streams.
viruses do your devices have?
None. Reddit is not a virus. The links that Reddit provides may give you viruses, but Reddit is pretty well established as far as not giving you anything, virus-wise. So I'm going to keep. And by the way, I hadn't had cable since I lived with my mama, since before I went to college. I have been using these websites, allegedly, to watch games for years. So, if I've got viruses, then my body is just riddled with them, and they've taken over, and I have no idea.
615-737-1045. What is the dumbest thing in sports this week for the opportunity to win some tickets to see the Nashville Sounds next week? Let's start with Peyton in White House.
Hey, Buck. Lucas took mine, but I don't have the dumbest thing, but probably the funniest thing is the Oregon Ducks mascot coming off as he was running out of the tunnel.
It's so good. It's just we did talk about this yesterday. Thank you for the call, Peyton. Nobody submitted it today. It was an oh no submission yesterday.
Yeah,
no, it
counts.
It was an alternative submission for oh no. It didn't actually make it into the running.
It will make me laugh every time I watch it for years to come. It's so great. The panic of the guy when his mascot is to sprint back in. First of all, the way that he just eats it when he's running out, just face plants, and then the wherewithal to immediately get up and sprint back to the locker room.
Oh my God!
Heavy reminder that mascots are the same thing, are the equivalent of sunglasses for men. like hats for men. Like you may attribute like the stature or the acclaim of a mascot with the person inside of it, but no, it is usually a sophomore in college who is a loser, who is a geek.
Hey, those people are
Show your identity then. Spider-Man.
No, they are 10 times the athlete you will ever be.
Get out of here.
how many
I was a
push-ups that duck
mascot.
does?
I was a mascot.
No, you
we
weren't.
are losers.
In
yes.
high school?
Yes, in high school. I had to ride the horse out for the Black Knight. I wore plastic armor. They are
rode a horse.
losers.
You did not ride a whole horse.
Yeah, I did.
You
Like-
rode like a real horse?
Yes, a black horse. I let into the stadium. Yes, I was the mascot.
No,
Hold on.
video. I need video.
Okay, I will get
How
my
have we
mom.
never done this?
We have talked about this on the air because I
didn't know
fell
you
off the
rode a
horse.
live
I have talked.
The only evidence that we have of your high school career is you soiling your wrestling uniform.
Soiling makes it seem
Mid-match.
like I pee-peed my pants. I poo-pooed myself.
Explosively soiled the entire mat.
You shat your pants, is what you did.
Did
I say that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We're
Riding the
dumping
line
it just- no, I'm dumping it just in case.
Yeah,
Anyway,
dump that.
so what I will say is mascots are losers. They are always losers.
They are pivotal to the college football experience.
If they were good enough gymnasts, they would be on the cheerleading team. If they were good enough athletes, they would be playing the game. If they were good enough at instruments, they would be in the band. They are neither or neither or none. They are losers.
I can't stand
This guy couldn't even
slander.
keep his mascot hat on. You know why? Because he's not athletic. He's not an athlete.
It's definitely worst case scenario for a mascot.
Oh, my God,
is for your
nightmare.
head to come off in front of a packed stadium.
You think they cut him from the mascots union? You're like,
Maybe.
you
They
showed
take
your
that
face.
stuff seriously,
You showed your
man.
face.
They should.
You can't speak. It's like being a mime. You
Yeah.
can't speak. You
Like-
can't show your face.
People aren't supposed to know that it's you in there. They're really not.
Let's go to John. Remember to stay on hold, by the way, for the opportunity to win said tickets. John in Franklin next.
Mine has to be the tennis rule that I didn't know existed, that if you hit a winner, the ball hits the net and pops over. And I played tennis all my life. I coached it a little bit too. That you're supposed to say, I'm sorry, I won that point. That the European women are bringing out against our American players saying they didn't say sorry. We're losers.
I'm unfamiliar, but that does seem like
News to me.
It seems like a pretty weird wrinkle to be able to exploit. You just have to physically say I'm sorry.
Seems like a Canadian rule. Like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry?
I beat you on that point. Sorry.
That is
The win doesn't count unless you apologize.
we don't have the wherewithal to look that up in real time, John, but I will take your word for it. How about Austin and Murfreesboro?
Hey guys, my dumbest thing in sports has got to go to Steve Ballmer. As a Clippers fan, been through a lot of pain with the Clippers last couple of years. Actually, last decade probably. And they just came out today and said that he is running the Clippers like the Sopranos and giving no-show jobs to Kawhi Leonard for $28 million to get around the salary cap. So yeah, he's an idiot. And we don't have anything to show for it. So, yeah, that's my submission.
God, I want a no-show job so bad.
Austin, thank you for the call.
Crazy story.
So Pablo Torre on his podcast, who has done excellent reporting work on a variety of different stories in the last 6 months, has found out that the podcast is literally called Pablo Torre Finds Out, that the Clippers and Steve Ballmer are now accused of a $28 million NBA salary cap evasion, where they are paying, as the caller mentioned, Kawhi Leonard $28 million through a shell company, defrauding multiple investors in the process for them to be able to pay additional money to Kawhi Leonard. Now, here's the thing, though, because Austin is submitting as the dumbest thing in sports. Don't you want an owner that's willing to do that? Like, if you're a sports fan, don't you want somebody who's willing to break every rule humanly possible?
It's kind of awesome.
To go
I'm
full
not gonna
Tony
lie.
Soprano and say, all right, no show jobs, we got it. We're skirting the rules here, and we're going to get the bet. I know they have nothing to show for it, so it's frustrating, but, like, I love this move.
It's kind of the coolest sports scandal that you could have, like Steve Ballmer. And then I looked, when you look at Steve Ballmer, I'm starting to see Tony Soprano. Like, he's got like the bald head. He's kind of got the devilish smirk. Like, I don't know, man. It's kind of cool.
All right, let's take one more submission because David Ubben is going to join us, if I'm not mistaken, in the next segment. We'll talk some college football. How about Tommy to wrap us up? What you got, Tommy?
My dumbest thing in sports is Mr. Know-It-All, Paul Feinbaum, who fell flat on his face with all his predictions on how Texas was going to roll, how Arch Manning was going to dominate, and just he's going to have a tough Monday on the air. Thanks.
Thank you for the call. Yeah, a lot of people are taking victory laps around Paul Feinbaum, who called Arch Manning the next best thing in college football since Tim Tebow.
All right, who wins?
There's some good submissions today. The Oregon Duck thing is so funny.
Yeah, I say Peyton. Let's give it to Peyton.
All right. Congratulations, Peyton. You will go and see the Nashville Sounds next week, courtesy of the Nashville Sounds and Winning Wednesday. Coming up next, we will talk to David Ubben about the world of college football. He was on the scene for a couple of different games over the course of the first full weekend. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Was delightful to see the fine folks at Hattie B's out at Titan's house yesterday where we were broadcasting live. Delightful to see David Ubben of The Athletic, who joins us now, mostly because I think we all require a wellness check. Thank God he's tweeting through it, because 6 college football games in 5 days. David, we knew you to be a sicko beforehand, but this is insane behavior by you.
Were mocking me before, and
we are going to effort David here in just a second. Appears we have. I don't want to keep talking. Okay, there we go. Sorry, David. We'll get the situation corrected via Zoom here in just a second. God forbid anybody hear my voice once, much less twice.
His article, 6 games in 5 days, what a college football road trip taught me about the state of the sport. Oh, there we go.
There we go. David Ubben with us on 104.5 The Zone. Yes, David, I apologize for our technical difficulties, but sicko behavior by you, 6 college football games in 5 days.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So we will catch up.
We'll get it figured out,
David, here in just a second. Hopefully, we can rectify the situation here shortly. We're working very hard to do so.
ECU NC State was his first game. Robert Walsh's ECU falling at the end there. App State Charlotte, Tennessee Syracuse, LSU Clemson. The same day, he went from Atlanta up to Clemson, South Carolina. In the same day to cover both of those games, he covered Virginia Tech, South Carolina Sunday, and TCU, North Carolina Monday.
Wonder what he thought about. I mean, we'll find out here in just a second. Zoom has been giving us difficulties lately, so we will work through that with David here in just a second. We do appreciate his patience. I can't imagine which one of those. I can't imagine what time you get to bed after a situation like that. Just having covered games myself, college football games being significantly longer than NFL games. But that is a lot of heavy lifting. He also has a great piece up on theathletic.com right now about Bill Belichick and what other college football coaches are talking about ahead of seeing Bill Belichick on their schedule and after just getting shellacked by TCU on Monday night. I'm sure there is blood in the water if there was not already before.
Yeah, no doubt. I haven't seen a lot of overreaction on the Bill stuff. Like, I think that's one that people understand why. I mean, it's such an overhaul that he's doing with that whole program, and it's just the way that they're going about doing things even. So let's give David Ubben another shot. David, do we have you?
I have you. We'll see if we got an echo.
Oh,
I think it sounds good to me.
We did it.
We got it. Beautiful. All right, buddy.
What was more chaotic, the start to this segment or your weekend?
I wouldn't say as much chaos as much as just life draining, more or less. But listen, we survived it. We've written about it. And there's a video coming out. I was shooting some video along the way, so keep an eye out for that. Our video team is working on that later in the week. And yeah, it's been I'm tired, guys.
Well, buddy, we do appreciate you stopping by, and we know that it is a heavy lift, and the coverage is appreciated as always. By the way, you can follow along via the Bunch Formation podcast. It is at Bunch Formation P on Twitter. Of course, you can hear David Ubben there, wherever it is that you get your podcast. You can also watch the podcast.
Got a big guest coming this week, by the way. Keep an eye out on the pod feed. Subscribe to it.
Oh, no.
Nice
Can we get a hint, potentially? A hint?
There's a Tennessee connection in there. Very loose. I would say that it's somebody people have wanted to hear from for a while, and they directly address one of the most popular Tennessee conspiracy theories in recent years.
Oh, my God. You know exactly who you're talking to, big boy. You know exactly how Vols fans work. Are you kidding me? Well, Lucas is a UT alum and is already salivating at the idea that he can dive into tinfoil hat Tennessee talk. So, with that said, though, of the games that you covered, David, and I guess what was your objective going into such a sprint like that, beyond just trying to cover as much college football as humanly possible?
I don't really know. I felt a little bit like I should have had Ian Malcolm in my ear because I was thinking so much about whether or not I could. I didn't really think about whether or not I should. So we just kind of went and we were like, let's see what we got. And I think as we were kind of getting closer, it was like, let's sort of tap into what the soul of the sport is. In a time when so much is changing around the sport, and what is this really about? What are we doing? Because it's a television property. It's very valuable, obviously. It is a moneymaker that subsidizes a ton of other things on campus, but it's not really that. And so I wanted to write about what college football is, as big of an idea as that is, and that's what we were shooting for. And I think I got a pretty good feel for it in a bunch of different types of games and going to some new places and going to some familiar places. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the trip. It was motivating. I think helping me keep awake was just the fact that it wasn't mundane. It was like a challenge of like, I don't know that I can do this. And so being able to hit that, was sort of a task. But I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna kind of do a lot of nothing the next couple days, and we'll see. But Saturday night we'll be back at it. I'm going to Bill Belichick Part 2. It's about 15 minutes from my house.
So let's start there then, because we are so, I think more than any other sport, David, and I just based on seeing some of your Twitter timeline this week with the Michael Wilbon clip on pardon the interruption, with the level of overreaction or the level of hype that leads into overreaction and then people turning it into such a cluster. I don't think there's a bigger overreaction sport than football, college or pro, just because we have so much time to kill. We're doing infomercials for, 6 days at a time to get people from game to game, and that, causes things to spin out. So the curiosity of Bill Belichick, the just ass whipping that he experienced at the hands of TCU, how much of week one do you allow to color what now follows or what his next opportunity will be? Because I imagine it would be tough for people to separate what they just saw versus what to expect from Bill Belichick, who I can't imagine went from one of the smartest people ever in the sport of football, the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, and now all of a sudden he just doesn't know anything?
No, I mean, listen, not to be trite, but it's a Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's thing. North Carolina doesn't have good players. That's what it is. When a coaching change happens, you're going to lose a lot. They lost a lot. They didn't gain a ton. Their three best players on the line, you get Howard Sampson left for Texas Tech. Bo Atkinson leaves for Ohio State. Amari Campbell leaves for Penn State. Those are their three best players on the line of scrimmage. They're all gone, very well compensated, I'm sure, to major programs that are paying a lot. I mean, that is what it is. They don't have a lot of pieces. Their leading receiver, their leading rusher, Caleb Hood, Jordan Shipp. These are guys that were not big contributors a year ago, aren't exactly big-time players. Gio Lopez, a fun player, had a nice year at South Alabama. ACC's not the best league in the country. It's a lot better than the Sun Belt, and he looked a little bit out of his depth at times. So, I don't know that this is a repudiation of Bill Belichick. Does he have the same fastball he had in 2008? I mean, I'd say probably not. But ultimately, you've got to try and put together a team and build a roster. They don't have the players right now. I think we knew this coming in. I think the team was probably a little bit worse than I thought. But I thought because the ACC, there's a lot of balance there. Outside of Clemson, there's nobody that terrifies you. I don't fully trust Miami. Plus, North Carolina's schedule is, if you look at it, incredibly easy. They could probably scheme their way to 6, 7, 8 wins. I think maybe that's a little bit down. I think there is a disaster scenario. But the core of this, the irony of all of this is the thing I took away from Monday night. It's not really anything about Belichick. It's just he doesn't have the dudes. And TCU's got a handful of them. So it is what it is.
David Ubben of The Athletic here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Follow him on Twitter at David Ubben.
And 6 games in 5 days. What a college football road trip taught me about the state of the sport is the article on The Athletic. Just a great reminder, David. Reading through this, I just find myself smiling at different points of the article in the time where, for the college football fan that's been watching the sport, obsessed over it for almost their entire lives, we're at a time where everything feels so negative about it, right? And it's chaotic, and the state of the sport is this and that. So this is a nice refresher that college football is still college football, right? And it boils down to the fans and what they mean to the sport and the narratives. And I like one part of your article when you get to the Tennessee-Syracuse portion, that one of the most chaotic aspects of college football right now, being the transfer portal, has kind of given us this narrative of hero and villain in some cases. And it was perfectly encapsulated Saturday with Tennessee-Syracuse, obviously Nico and his UCLA debut. What did you make?
The Tennessee collective hate watch Saturday night was very funny. I was busy. I was running around, but I would see some stray tweets. And
at 3 a.m. Eastern time.
Like the reality is that went pretty much like what I thought it was going to go. I think there was some doubt from Tennessee fans maybe, but I mean, it's a first time, offensive coordinator and not a lot of talent around him in a program that's still trying to find its footing with, it's a tough situation. I mean, to take less money to play with a worse supporting cast it's a tough look. So,
well, according to Nico, they left because of the offense and the supporting cast, David. So here comes Joey Aguilar.
Snide Vols fan.
So here comes
voice.
Joey Aguilar in a new offense, first time playing for Josh Heupel and Joey Halsley. And what did you make of his debut and just the sugar rush that was Tennessee's 45-point performance for its fan base?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of what I thought it was going to be from Joey Aguilar. Listen, Joey Aguilar does not have the same measurables. He's probably not as talented as Nico, but I felt since they landed him, because I was familiar with Joey the last 2 years, that mentally he was a better fit for this offense because he's a little reckless. And I think Tennessee's coaching staff, just the time I've spent with Josh Heupel and Joey Halsley over the last few years, they would much rather have to rein a guy back in than have Nico, who's holding on to the ball too long, doesn't want to force balls into tight windows. If his guy's got half a step, he's not going to chuck it and give his receiver a chance to make a play. He just wasn't doing a ton of that. And then the downfield accuracy wasn't great either. I think in some ways maybe you can fix that. But Joey Aguilar, listen, he's going to cut it loose. And I think they would much rather have that, even if, he's going to miss some easy throws. He didn't look fantastic. The accuracy was a little spotty. That's who he is. But I think mentally he's a better fit. And I've said from the start, I would not be surprised if he had better numbers than Nico did last year, in part because Tennessee doesn't have the same running game. They can't lean on that. And because he is a better fit. And I think he's going to have some success there. I'm still not all in on Tennessee in terms of having like a super high ceiling this year. I think the personnel that they do have is probably going to come up a little short when they start playing some really, really good teams in the SEC. But they're going to be pretty good, and they're going to, I think, be more fun than last year, for whatever that's worth.
We've been talking about overreactions after week one, so let's do some of that, David. You somehow got up to Clemson from Atlanta. I know you wrote it out in the article, but I still don't know how that was possible for you. But you managed to pull it off in LSU with a statement win in week one. Alabama has its collapse at FSU. Arch Manning struggles at Ohio State. Week one overreaction. How much did the shifting of powers that be happen in your eyes at the top of the SEC in terms of the teams that we should look at as feasibly being able to win the conference this year?
I mean, I do think Alabama's done. I think in terms of the Alabama that we've known them to be, I think we knew it was going to be shaky in the transition. This isn't the transition now. I think this is just who Alabama is in that, they're still really talented. They're going to be really tough to beat. But one of the things that was the biggest Achilles heel for Kayla DeBoer's programs at Washington was showing up in games where they were supposed to win. They really would give you 1 to 3 kind of like what happened there every year. And that seems to be the case at Alabama. Like they can go to LSU and eviscerate that team. They can beat a really good Georgia team. And then here comes Vandy, and here comes this Florida State team that we'll kind of see what they are. But I think Alabama is mortal at this point, and that's something to get used to. Could they still win the SEC? I guess in theory, I'm not really sold on their quarterback's position, and some of the defensive stuff is concerning for them. They've got better personnel than what they showed against Florida State. How much that's schematic, how much that is effort, we'll see. But I think that's one overreaction that I'm all in on. It's just Alabama is pretty mortal now, and I thought AL.com wrote a really good piece about this. I forget who the author was, but for the last 15 years, Alabama's been the main character of college football in one way or another. They hover over everything. Their ex-coaches are everywhere. Nick Saban's everywhere. They've been the main character. I don't think that's true anymore. They're not that interesting, and they're not certainly dominant on the field, and their coaches aren't everywhere. And I think, to me, beyond the end of the dynasty, I think Alabama's end as the main character in college football is really, I think, one of my big takeaways for the weekend is not only you're just like everybody else on the field, but I think you're about to be just like everybody else in the conversation as well.
Oh, thank God. I mean,
it's only been 17 years, Buck. It's,
Dave, I mean, it's like, I don't want to like gratuitously beat up on Alabama fans, but like, come on. It's been so long.
They had a good run. I mean, listen, I will say, last year I was texting with some people over the weekend about it, and just when there are coaches on staff walking into the Tennessee game smoking cigars, like, that is wild.
Yeah.
Like, some of the cultural stuff with just, I think it's different. The why this is happening is complicated, because I think Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach, but I do think that trying to coach up guys with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, maybe guys that weren't necessarily the all-world this or all-world that, I think that's a different task than trying to get 5 stars who now are getting paid millions of dollars to show up, as invested as if they've got something to prove. I think that's a different challenge. And whatever you think of how he's doing it, this is a results business. The results have not been good, especially obviously this year. They have no good results this year so far. But the way they finished the season, that bowl game where they had everybody back, and Alabama has and Michigan has a bunch of teams or a bunch of players opt out, and they just a comedy of errors and getting beat up on the lines. I mean, it's stuff we haven't seen from Alabama. It's weird to watch.
It's a challenge Nick Saban no longer wanted to be a part of, right? With this new wave. Nick Saban said, I don't know that I can do it to this level.
I'm good.
In this climate anymore. So, we shouldn't be surprised if Kalen DeBoer has that difficulty of getting them back up to that standard.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's going to be really interesting to watch with how Alabama wrestles with this, because let me tell you something. You can hire a worse coach than Kalen DeBoer. You might think you can't. I promise you can. So if you want to hit the panic button and say, $70 million is nothing or whatever, or have real conversations about getting rid of him, listen, I don't know that he's going to be the guy at Alabama. I think it's fair to suggest whether he's a good fit. But the idea that it can't get worse, Alabama, I would challenge you to go look at your record in seasons not coached by Nick Saban or Bear Bryant. It can.
David Ubben is one of the best doing it. You can follow along. Check out the podcast feed, the Bunch Formation podcast.
You should subscribe. It's going to be dropping. It's going to be dropping soon.
Well, why don't we do this for David, since we had some technical difficulties with him on the front end? Robert, if you would do us the courtesy of dropping the podcast link, the subscribe link in the YouTube chat for people to go directly there. And, of course, you can always follow along at David Ubben, The Athletic.com is where you can read all of the great and literally exhaustive work that he does. Buddy, thank you for the time.
It's been long. Fuck, Lucas, I appreciate y'all.
That's the man.
Thanks,
David
David.
Ubben, kind enough to make some time with us on 104.5 The Zone. That's sicko stuff. Like what you said, what Clemson, was it Atlanta to Clemson or Clemson to Atlanta?
No, he covered Tennessee, Syracuse, and then went to cover Clemson, LSU, which Duck Falling in the FNM Bank chat says it's only a 2-hour drive. Like, dude, you got to go to post-game press conferences.
People don't understand how long that is. And I'm not, nobody's crying over, the job of the sports reporter, but like,
he's not leaving when the clock hits 0. Like, he's got it. Once he gets up to Clemson, figure out parking like an hour before kickoff.
You got to wait for players to get done in the locker room. You got to wait for coaches. You got to wait for PR people. Like, it's just
impressive.
It can be a 16-hour day if you are covering a game, much less what he did. So I understand why that might not be why the what's the word? The casual mind cannot comprehend. It's a heavy lift that he just did. And he just did it for college football fans, which is why he and so many others at The Athletic do excellent work. David Ubben is one of a kind that way. 615-737-1045. Ooh, I forgot. It's Wednesday. Are you excited? Do you know what's next? What's next, Robert? Are you okay back there? You did a good job, by the way.
No, shut up.
No, I really, I don't say
My
nice.
wet powder moment is that I am the worst producer in this studio right now.
I don't say nice things to you because usually I don't mean them, but I do mean them. That was not
the best.
That was not a fair spot that we put you in, and you did a great job to make sure that David got on the air successfully.
It is Wet Powder Wednesday.
Next. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Every Hattie B's location in the Middle Tennessee area, or if you're listening to us in Atlanta, Las Vegas, Birmingham, Dallas, Austin, soon to East Nashville, soon to Lucas's part of the world, Hattie B's. So you won't even have to cross the Cumberland River to get your hot chicken.
That's how I like it. That's what I want.
What is that, like a wall for you? It's like the border?
It kind of is, yeah. I have a hard time.
I feel like East Nashville people will feel that way just generally. Like they don't cross the Cumberland unless they absolutely have to, which is weird because I feel the same way, even though I love all the bars and restaurants in East Nashville. I don't go there enough.
I crossed the Cumberland for work and Hattie B's, and now I don't even have to do it for the second one.
He's going to become a recluse. So what we have at this point is Wet Powder Wednesday, which is our opportunity to overreact. Coach Mack says keep your powder dry about various things. Don't overreact to what you see. It's never as bad or as good as you think it might be in the moment, but we like to do it anyway, despite Mack's best interest. And so I think that off the first real week of college football, that overreactions should be had aplenty. Do you guys want me to start? I'm ready.
Yeah, go ahead. Knock it out.
Miami's winning the ACC. And not just because they beat my Notre Dame Fighting Irish over the weekend. They looked really good. Carson Beck, I don't know what it's going to look like down the road. I know the quarterback's coach or the offensive coordinator, I can't remember which, at Miami was talking about they think they have another number one overall pick in their quarterback room after Cam Ward just went to the NFL. But that version of Carson Beck felt like a rejuvenated version of Carson Beck. He played lights out. Notre Dame doesn't win when they go to Miami, and there was a lot of, barbs being exchanged on the internet between Notre Dame podcasters who were using racially charged language around Miami football players. Shocking to nobody. People in northern Indiana are not the most understanding or open-minded about things. It's always been the Catholics versus the convicts, right? That's it's been a great rivalry for a long, long time. But Miami, Clemson losing, it's not just because Clemson lost to LSU. I don't know how I feel. How do you feel about Cade Klubnik?
Yeah, he wasn't great on Saturday. That LSU defense was getting after him. Good to see Harold Perkins Jr. affecting the quarterback again. He's been moved every which way across that LSU defense. But it was just such a dominant defensive performance. I think Cade Klubnik will come alive a little bit, but it definitely was not good tape to put out there when it comes to his draft status come April.
So my wet powder moment from the first official week of college football is that Miami is winning the ACC. You cannot tell me otherwise.
Yeah, the Carson Beck thing, he looked great on Saturday, and I felt like he was so denigrated coming out of that season with Georgia, and he struggled. He had struggles.
It's like people completely forgot that the wide receivers were some of the worst in college football last year with drops.
Pass protection issues. I don't think
couldn't run the ball.
He couldn't run the ball well at all. Yeah, drops. I don't think he felt like he had ownership of the offense. He was held back by some injuries, and yes, he didn't play well at times. Oh, and they won the SEC. Like they won, 11 games last year? It was such a terrible year. If your quarterback's that bad, then you're not going to win the SEC. So Carson Beck seems like he is happier in his new home. This probably isn't even a good submission because I was coming out here ready to say that after one game watching each that Tennessee has upgraded at the quarterback position. So my wet powder moment was going to be Joey Aguilar will have better numbers than Nico Iamaleava in 2025 than Nico did in 2024. In 2025. And then I look at Nico's numbers from 2024, and I see 2,616 passing yards. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, I could see Joey Aguilar cruising past that this season.
Yeah.
19 touchdowns. He's already got 3. So that is my wet powder moment, that after all of that crazy offseason, that Tennessee actually somehow found an upgrade for what the Josh Heupel offense needs at the quarterback position. But maybe after Saturday, that's not such a bold take.
Robert?
My wet powder Wednesday is we have crowned the worst team in the NFL far too early. There is a team that has slipped and crept underneath our gaze for far too long. So it's so easy for everyone to claim, yeah, the Saints are going to have the number 1 overall pick. Then they can either draft Nussmeier, where his dad is the OC, or draft Arch and have the connection to the original Manning.
I don't think you want either of them with the number 1 overall pick, but that's all well and good.
Either way, the Jets will be the worst team in the NFL this year. I think we have overlooked the fact that the supposed most important player on offense is Justin Fields. I think we have overlooked the fact that there is only Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, who I'm not even that big of a fan of anyway. The offensive line is already starting to fall apart.
Who's that Wisconsin running back? I like him better than Breece Hall.
Braylon Allen?
Yeah.
They have always, for the last 3 or 4 years, had dudes ready in the backfield, like Israel Abanikanda out of Pittsburgh was an incredible running back, and I thought he flashed a lot. Got released. Oh, we've got a 20-year-old Braylon Allen now, and then other people. Oh, but they have Isaiah Davis. They don't have anything. It's the old adage: if you have some, you have nothing, or if you have all, you have nothing. I have zero faith that the Jets would be able to, one, stay in a division where Mike Vrabel is already a hot pick. I think that's going to be a tough hill to climb. Miami is falling apart, but still, I think that it's going to be a tough game whether or not they go.
They don't have any corners.
Their only saving grace the Jets have is if this defense can bail them out and keep them in a bunch of close games, or be up in games to where you can grind people down with your running attack. And I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to do that a lot this year. I think the Jets will be the worst team in the NFL.
First-time play caller at offensive coordinator.
A passing game coordinator from Detroit.
Yep, but has never been an OC in the NFL.
Which we know, firsthand experience here, how difficult that can be in year one. Justin Fields has never been good in the NFL. I don't know why people are trying to manifest this into something. Just because, first-round picks will get chances. We know this. Lucas brought this up with Caleb Farley last year. Caleb Farley got another job, even though he's currently a free agent out on the open market. He ended up in Carolina last year and ended up playing in a game.
The Dolphins traded a pick for Isaiah Wilson.
Yes.
They literally traded draft capital. Low-level draft capital.
It was
but nonetheless, they traded a draft pick for that.
True.
It's going to happen. But you're right. He's only ever shown flashes.
He's never been good consistently good in the NFL beyond being a superior athlete. And now he's, I know the toe injury was early on, so there's not much there to. You don't try to assign too much value to that, I guess. But they already have offensive line injuries, and he makes offensive lines worse. They can have a good offensive line unit, and he holds the ball. He creates sacks. Look no further than Pittsburgh last year. So I don't know the Jets. This is the perpetual thing with Jets fans. They will tell you every offseason they're winning 9 games. It doesn't matter who is the coach or who is the quarterback. Jets, God bless them. They are the most God-forsaken and also hopeful at the same time fan base I think you might find anywhere in the NFL. And New York has assigned its hope to Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and Jackson Dart. Good luck with that.
Also worth noting, you guys know how hard I hate on former Ravens who have perturbed me at some point.
Yes, famously, James Prochet, a war criminal to you.
Well, the other war criminal signed with the Jets this offseason on a 3-year, $36 million deal. That would be Brandon Stevens. If you watched the Bengals game, if you watched really any game, they targeted his side of the field so heavily. This guy, I am starting to believe that he is a turtle because his neck does not turn around in any situation. I swear, they just throw go balls. Oh, 3rd and 155. Let's just throw it to Brandon Stevens' side of the field. Oh, he didn't see the ball. The guy caught it and mossed him. Brandon Stevens is now their number 2 corner opposite of Sauce Gardner. So he will see a lot of targets, and if he can't figure out how to turn his head around, he's going to be in the same issue he was in Baltimore.
Titans head coach Brian Callahan is at the podium. We'll carry it live coming up next. Financial independence, it's something that if you don't have, you understand how much havoc it can wreak on your life, how much havoc it can wreak on your mental health beyond just your actual finances. And as you move forward, you want to make sure that you have the best team in place to help you through that process, to make sure that you can gain that financial independence with strategic wealth management planning. That's Trajan Wealth, and they're here to help you. Because if you're not feeling the sizzle with your current financial advisor, you need to call Trajan Wealth today so they can put you on the right path to financial independence. As a veteran, Trajan Wealth CEO Jeff Jr. fully appreciates the importance of that true independence, and he founded Trajan Wealth as an independent firm allowing fiduciary advisors the ability to customize a portfolio to meet your unique goals and needs. So call Trajan Wealth to discuss options for achieving that financial independence today. 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000. 2 locations in Brentwood and Franklin, or online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement.
.1201, good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans return to the practice field today ahead of Sunday's opener at the Broncos. Brian Callahan meets with the media in moments. You can hear that live right here on The Zone. Cam Ward set to speak after practice at 2:25. Titans put out the unofficial depth chart for Week 1 on Tuesday. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Alec Ayumanner listed as the starters. At wide receiver, Cedric Gray, the starter next to Cody Barton at linebacker. He has switched his number to 33 for this season. Titans Titans also made official the signing of Kaiser White, the former Cardinals linebacker, to the practice squad, releasing defensive lineman Isaiah Rakes to make room. College football, the AP poll came out Tuesday. Ohio State, the new number 1 after knocking off Texas last weekend. Penn State and LSU round out the top 3. Tennessee made it up 2 spots to number 22, 1 spot behind Alabama, who fell out of the top 10 after the loss to Florida State to 21. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Titans head coach Brian Callahan is at the podium. We go now live to Ascension's St. Thomas Sports Park.
To be the first guy to walk out there, but that doesn't mean that he's the only guy that's going to be out there. You know, we're going to have receivers up on game day. They're all going to play. They're all going to have roles. We're counting on all those guys to produce and perform for us. So he's earned a nice little bump as a starter on paper, but they're all going to play.
Did you see from him progressively get better, I guess, through camp in the preseason?
Just the performance. I think the consistency of performance just showed up every day. You know, made plays every day. He's gotten better every time he stepped out there. He's a strong runner. He's a powerful route runner. He's made plays on the ball, and that's what we're looking for. He's earned himself earned himself the right to be called a starter.
I guess with Gray and Williams on the depth chart too, you anticipate both those guys playing, and what did Cedric do maybe to earn that nod?
I think Cedric showed up when it was time to play football. That was really the biggest separator, I think, between the two of them. James had a really strong camp. Wasn't anything that James didn't do. It was more what Ced did. He showed up, played physical. We played hard in the run game, played sideline to sideline. He's really showed well for himself when we had the chance to go compete for real in the preseason games, and earned himself a spot just like Alec did. He's earned the role. It was great competition. Both those guys are going to be counted on this year in roles. Happy with where both of their progress is at, but I think Cedric at the end of camp there really showed up, I think, in the games, which was good to see.
With Bo's ability to kind of move around and use his feet too, how disciplined is you guys have to be defensively?
Oh, it's critical. That's really what's made their offense so so dangerous. Is he's really strong in the pocket. He's hard to bring down. He's a really strong pocket presence. He can run when his breaks contain. He's a real threat as a runner. And he's got great feel for when and where to escape. So quarterbacks like that, which there's more and more of them in the league nowadays, you have to really do a great job balancing your rush, knowing where your rush lanes are at, knowing where the quarterback launch point is at, condensing the pocket and making sure that we don't give up free lanes for the quarterback to run. That's a huge part of playing all these quarterbacks that can run nowadays is you do your best to don't give them free ones. You know, if they make a great play and escape, then that happens, but we try to not give them easy lanes to run in.
To an environment like that, how important will it be to get Tony Pollard going early, and how do you feel he's going to be able to carry a heavy workload as required?
Yeah, he's proven he can do it. He did it last year for us. He can carry the ball a bunch. He's a productive runner. He's a hard runner. All those things are things that we've seen from Tony, so there's not a whole lot of mystery what that looks like for him performing in a role where he's going to take a majority of the carries. We're still going to need the other guys to play for us. You know, Julius is going to have to step up. Khalil might have some work in there. Those guys all got to contribute for us to win, but very confident in Tony's ability to handle it. Obviously you got to run the ball well in this league if you want to win, and so we're going to have to run the ball well when we run it.
Does that get amplified a little more, being as though you have a rookie quarterback making his first start?
Not any more than it would for any normal game, I don't think. Yeah, certainly we'd like to run the ball well and keep him out of some of the tough situations that you can get in if you got to drop back a bunch or face the pass rush a bunch. They're very clearly an excellent pass rushing football team. Their production is best in the league. So, we got to be mindful of what the spots we put them in, and running the ball always helps that. But at the end of the day, we're still going to do what we think is going to help us win a game. And if we got to throw it, we'll throw it.
Brian, in your eyes, what's the most important thing for a quarterback to do, a rookie that is, to successfully get through game one, and how does Cam fit into that?
The biggest thing for a young quarterback is just stay within yourself, play within what's asked of you, do the things that you've done all training camp, all off season. It's week one. I kind of alluded to it the other day. Week one gets made into this benchmark moment of a season. It's really just one game of 17 that you certainly want to play well in. But it's you still got to have some perspective on it, and not, you don't need anything crazy. He just needs to be one of the 11 guys on the field on offense doing his part to help us win, making smart decisions with the football, keeping us on track, keeping us on schedule. Obviously, protecting the football is a huge part of winning football games in the NFL, period, but certainly in week one is going to be critical. So I think he's just playing football the way that we ask him to play, and play within himself. He's got all the talent in the world to go make the throws we need him to make, and the rest of the guys around him got to play well too. So we're counting on everybody to play well together.
That said, is there something specific you really want him to focus on or hone in on in practice these next 3 days?
Outside of the game plan, the normal stuff, no. Again, try not to make it something that it isn't. It's still just a football game. He's played a lot of football. This is not any different. So the talent's different, and the environment's going to be fun. But you walk on the field there. It's still 100 yards long and 10-yard end zones and 53 1/3 yards wide, and doesn't really change. So just that approach, I think, helps. We don't need him to do anything superhuman. Just need him to play good football, and need the guys around him to play well for him.
Yesterday that the game plan's probably at 65-70%. And what's the timeline to getting it to 100%? What's left to tinker with, and just kind of what are you guys trying to get in these last couple of days?
I think we're right on track where we are on a normal week. We get a couple extra days here just because of the bonus week now without that fourth preseason game, but right on a normal rhythm of the week. We got our base downs and third downs and red zone. We just sort of follow that same rhythm. Maybe a little bit ahead of it just because of the extra time, but pretty squarely on where we need to be. Yep.
Your experience, what do defenses often do with a rookie quarterback or a guy starting his first game? What are maybe some generic things that you usually see from defenses that you might not see against a vet?
They test you. I mean, they're going to see what you can handle. And the old adage for most quarterbacks is, if they test you and they pressure you and it works, it's probably coming again. And you're going to get tested until you show you can handle it. And I think that's an important part of the position. And every defense is going to have their DNA and how much they pressure and why and where. And but I've always believed that, especially young players, first, second-year quarterbacks, you're going to get tested. And once you show you can handle it, those things tend to fall by the wayside a bit, and they don't do anything reckless. But look, Vance is an outstanding coordinator. He's done it for a long time. I don't think he's going to go out of his way to veer much off of what they believe in and what they do. But I just know that young quarterbacks get tested, and until you prove you can handle it, you're going to keep getting tested.
Purposefully, did you choose the placement of guys in the locker room? I know it's been a while they've been in it. First we saw it the other day, but how intentional were you about who was next to who and who's between who?
Yeah, I would say there was definitely thought put into it. Not all of it was, every single person, every single spot, but there was certainly some spots that had some intention behind them and some thought put into it on where we wanted those guys to be. The biggest point for the locker room to me was just to make sure that there was enough guys intermixed, offense, defense, special teams by position, to have more opportunities to connect. And I think when you guys walked in there, you saw we took out those big pod lockers in there that were around the post, so it opens up the locker room more. So the locker rooms are more open, more guys can kind of see and talk, and you can see the whole space a little better. So that was really the biggest thing. But yeah, there was certainly intention behind some of it.
So Kazir White, and I guess what's going to be like kind of getting him up to speed and how hard he can help you.
Yeah, excited to have Kazir. He's a proven veteran in this league. Been very productive over the course of his career. He's been a captain on teams. He's well regarded amongst the places he's been. Excited to have him, and he hadn't been anywhere, for the offseason or training camp. So get him back in shape, get him back in the groove. These guys have been working for a lot of weeks now. So to catch him up on that process, make sure he's in shape and then ready to roll when we need to count on him.
Such a vertical passer, he likes to push the ball down the field. This team, they're going to blitz. They were 10th last year. How do you go about making sure that, hey, I want you to take your shots, but we got stuff underneath as options as well?
That's part of playing the position in the NFL. There's a discipline and a patience involved in playing quarterback. I would say there's probably 80% of the game that the quarterback has to do the right thing, and then there's those 20% that they got to make the play, make a great throw on third down, make a great throw in the red zone, create on a scramble. But a lot of the position is the discipline and patience that's required to keep moving the team down the field, and those are the things that Cam's learned along the way. There's teams that can rush the passer just like this one. You got to be mindful of how long you hold the ball and how often you're going to hang back there because they're coming. But that's all part of it. But you just don't ever want want to take away the stinger, and Cam's got one, and he's going to take some chances and take some risks and put the ball in some tight windows, and that's part of what makes him who he is, and we don't want to take that away from him. So he's going to go play football the way he's played football his whole career. He'll learn the differences in the NFL as he plays more NFL games, but there's not a whole lot of things that I'm not going to tell him how he's got to go play. I can point out the things that he needs to do well and where he can help the offense, but when it's time to go play quarterback, go play quarterback.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
That is Titans head coach Brian Callahan at the podium. So they will practice right after this. I will be there for open locker room. I'm probably going to miss the open period of practice. I think they start at 12:45, and it's the first 25 minutes now that we're into the regular season. But we will be able to do open locker room and have a lot of different conversations. Alec Iamaner getting some praise from the head coach there on earning a starting job. We'll hear from the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and the special teams coach coming up next. But also, Robert,
how your red zone enjoyment may be slightly interrupted.
Coming up next. If you can get past that person stroking out in the middle of telling you about Titans football on the zone, you can get in the game with DraftKings. Week 1 starts now. In fact, it starts tomorrow night with the Eagles and the Cowboys. And every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. It isn't just football. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime touchdown rushes, and live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. In fact, with this Eagles-Cowboys game on Thursday night, the Eagles are favored at home by 8.5 points. The over-under at 47.5. I am going to go over. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do exactly what Jerry Jones doesn't think they're going to do. I think they're going to run roughshod, literally run roughshod all over Dallas. I think it's going to be a lopsided affair. I will go over 47.5 in the DraftKings Sportsbook app and probably take the Eagles on the money line, even though that's not really a high leverage bet. Feels like a layup, and I need one after that Bill Belichick loss. So DraftKings Sportsbook is where you go. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now, so download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THEZONE, one word, THEZONE, to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789, 21 plus, Tennessee only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions do apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. I was just telling Lucas I'm starving. I may have to. I may do the unthinkable. I may order Hattie B's to the Titans practice facility between practice and open locker room. I'm not above it. You can download the Hattie B's app. Is the football promo still going on for the bucket of wings?
Oh, they were so good.
They were good. I
This
love
weekend,
whole wings.
You got to get in there this weekend for them. Thursday through Sunday, you get a bucket of wings on from HattieB.com. With the promo code football, you get a free quart of any side, and they have the best sides.
So we are going to get to Titans coordinators. Brian Callahan just spoke a couple of different things to touch on there, and we'll have audio from the coordinators yesterday to support some of the things that Brian Callahan did touch on. But Scott Hansen made an appearance where? Robert, on the Pat McAfee show, and he's giving Red Zone updates that people need to know.
Yes, as Red Zone continues to change, he lets everyone know that Red Zone will now show commercials.
You're going to maybe go to the bathroom now. If there is like a little... No bathroom. You still stand in solidarity.
Married to it.
Yeah, I respect
17 years?
Yes. But I don't think anybody's upset about the commercials. I mean, it's an easy thing to kind of tweet about and post about, but I don't think anybody's turning it off because of commercials, and the NFL knows that.
Yes.
And it's like, we can certainly.
I'll tell you this. We've had meetings all off season. We had our rehearsal. We had our dress rehearsal in week 3 of the preseason, and we are not going to sacrifice any great football for any of the business side of things, right? The business folks are going to handle the business, and we play the hand that's dealt us, but we will not miss a touchdown. We will not say, oh, okay, this is 1st and goal from the 5, but let's, sell some pizza or pick up trucks.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to do.
That's literally what they're doing.
What do you mean? We're going to deal the hand we're dealt. Yes, that means business people are going to come in and say, hey, you have to do these ad reads. Hey, we're going to picture in a picture. Hey, we're having an overlay. Like that, what you're saying, sure. Well, we're not going to go take away from any good football. No bleep, dude. That's your whole premise of even being like a viable program is that you show every bit of good football. But to say, oh, no one's mad about the commercials. Oh, no one's.
Now, what is Pat talking about?
Yeah, come on. Well, ESPN owns 10% of Red Zone. So
but
he is incentivized
he
to.
He is not a company man.
Sure.
I would not. He is, of all the people to accuse of that, I think McAfee might be the least.
Okay, but in this scenario, when you have Scott Hansen on your show and you are actively promoting Red Zone, like Pat McAfee is not going to poo-poo Scott and be like, what are you talking about, Scott? The whole thing was 7 hours of free commercial-free football. He's not going to do that to him on the show.
Yeah.
But just a classic corporationizing of football.
He is right. The
corporatization.
Yeah.
What he's right about is that it's not going to deter people from watching Red Zone.
No, and as he says, the NFL knows this.
But yeah, like when the noon games all start at the same time and are all going for a good 3.5 hours, how can you not miss something important with the commercial break? I mean, it's next to impossible.
100% the Titans are going to be victims of this. As a commercial break happens or as a Titans touchdown is about to happen or a Titans touchdown gets missed, they're going to go to commercial break like they do during the draft.
Nobody loves reminding Titans fans the slights they get nationally than you. Nobody.
I mean, you're going to tell me that's not going to happen?
No. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying people need to find themselves somebody that loves them as much as Buck loves reminding Titans fans that they will be slighted nationally at some point or another.
It's going to happen. I don't watch Red Zone because I'm working on Sundays. Do you watch Red Zone?
No. How am I going to be watching Red Zone?
Well, I mean, I just assumed that you would be able to watch other games between your, pre and halftime?
I'm watching the Titans game between pre and halftime.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are not affected by this.
No.
Red Zone for me is kind of just like a side stream. Like you'll have the game that you are actively watching, and then on a second stream, you will have Red Zone on. And Red Zone is just to be like, oh, I have this player in fantasy. Oh, I'm glad this guy got a touchdown. But like I'm not using Red Zone to extrapolate any information from games whatsoever. Like if you're actually wanting to watch games, or okay, I have a rooting interest in this Steelers-Bengals game. I actually want to watch this game, or what have you. Red Zone is not your option. If you are a fantasy player and want to keep up with every touchdown that happens, I would say those are the most people that watch Red Zone, or people that don't have like vested interest in snap counts for like certain positions or what have, or seeing things like Red Zone. I think is for the common fan.
I get irritated like when the Titans have a bye, or like when obviously this year we don't have Sunday night or Monday night or Thursday night, but like I don't like watching Red Zone because at least I'm conditioned to watch one game the whole way through. And when we're jumping around like that, like I get frustrated because I don't know what's happening. I don't know the context. I mean, touchdowns are fun or whatever, but like I can get highlights on Twitter. That's Red Zone is almost annoying to me.
I enjoy it, but I do get that. I think Red Zone is more enjoyable for the late afternoon kickoffs. When there's only more, like in the second half, and there's 2 to 3 games happening,
right?
And they're sticking with one game for a while, and then that game hits a break, so they go to the other one, and I'm basically channel flipping I would be normally.
They have an Octabox for the noon games. I'm like, who can even see that? I have an 80-inch TV in my living room. I can't see what's on the TV.
It's more of just the spectacle of it all, just being showered in football.
It is utter chaos. But when there are 2 tight games going on at once, and they're like, okay, we're going to head to New York to show you the triple, or we're going to go to the triple box. It's like, no, I need to watch the game I care about. So like, I can understand why regular people or people that consume football, not like
call them normies,
crazy people. I mean, like I think that we are the outliers as far as people how you consume football.
Sure. Yeah, like most people have one team and they're going to watch all 4 quarters of their team, and then outside of that, Red Zone is perfect. It's perfect to get the highlights, to get the big bold headlines of what's happening.
I think the point is it was perfect because it was 7 hours of commercial-free football, and now your viewing experience is going to be.
I'll be curious to see how they handle all of that.
Yeah, because it's a hard enough job.
It's hard, man.
In and out. Like I mean, again,
how do you do it without pissing somebody off? You can't.
Right? No, it's impossible.
Every week there will be a fan base that is fuming. But again, if you're watching your team via Red Zone, then I guess that's on you. I think most people are not doing that.
Well, because this is, I mean, I think Titans fans have this unique situation. Like, there are a lot of people out of market who simply can't watch Titans games because they're not nationally televised. And you know, if you're in California or Colorado and you happen to root,
doesn't even have to be that far. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama.
Really?
90% of the time.
What are you getting, Falcons?
A lot of Falcons, Saints, or whatever the big CBS. Usually it was just whatever the number 1 game was on CBS. So like Patriots, Broncos, or whatever. 90% of the games for me in Birmingham growing up as a Titans fan were spent listening to Mike Keith and Frank Wycheck on the radio I had in my room, or going to a Buffalo Wild Wings or something and just parking under the TV that had the Titans on.
When's the last time the two of you ate at a Buffalo? Well, I probably shouldn't ask you to.
Yeah, we're terrible.
It's been a while, actually. It's been a while.
An update on Jets right guard Elijah Vera Tucker. The triceps injury that he suffered today is season-ending, and he will miss the entire 2025 NFL season. This is the second time that he has torn his tricep.
Oh, my God, that sucks. That's terrible.
Here it comes, Jets fans.
In a contract year, too. Jets fans.
Xavier Newman. Come on down.
Titans legend.
I don't even know who you would go get at guard right now with Brandon Sheriff. Like,
he's retired.
Retired very quietly over
he
the
wasn't very good at the end.
Nah, he wasn't, but also guys like that have that experience. Like, there's a guard for the Giants that just will not die. It's like, dude, you are awful, and you are continually awful, but they keep re-signing him.
God, that sucks.
Speaking of offensive line movement, I guess unsurprisingly, Udo is indeed the Titans' backup tackle, it would seem. He is at least backing up Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle. The backup right tackle is Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, but we're on the assumption that if either Latham or Moore Jr. goes down, it will be Oli Udo.
Yeah, and until such time as they feel comfortable with another player, if they do. If not, that's who they're rolling with. So I believe Udo is number 72, if I remember correctly. So if you're unfamiliar with him, he was playing a good bit of snaps in the preseason and will be this team's swing tackle over the likes of Jalen Duncan, who is no longer here, at least on the roster, and guys like John Ojukwu, who ended up being waived, but then brought back via practice squad and, could potentially be a call-up should they get down the line in their depth. But they're just trying to, again, raising the talent floor is what this season is about across the board on the roster. And if they feel like they've got an upgrade there, well, then good on it, because God knows they need it.
Jackson Slater listed as the backup center, but none of us will be surprised if Levin is the game day elevation to actually fill that role Sunday.
I'd be curious to see what they do with the P squad elevations, because Levin, I would have to think that Levin is a lock.
He has to be. Slater didn't play center. I don't think he played. I didn't see him play any center in training camp. Slater.
I wouldn't pretend to say that I've watched every individual drill snap that they did over there in
me too.
Callahan's corner. But like in the
I don't think he got much work there.
But even if he did get snaps in practice, he was getting in them with the third team.
With Tim Boyle.
Yeah, it's not like he was getting like notable snaps at the position.
Yes, which Levin was. What do we make of Brian Callahan saying that Cam Ward doesn't have to be superhuman, just has to play within himself on Sunday? Does Cam Ward have to be superhuman for the Titans to knock off the Broncos on Sunday?
Well, yeah. I mean, he would have to be. It would have to be like one of the weirdest week one results on the board for the Titans to go into Denver against a defense that led the league in sacks. Denver's defense should be better this year. Like, I know they had turnovers, and turnover luck is not, as we just talked about with Deron Bland's contract extension in the first hour, like turnovers are as difficult as anything to recreate, damn near impossible to recreate year over year, to carry over, given so much situational stuff around them. But what they have in Denver is a defense that I think should be the best defense in football next year. So it would have to be a Herculean type of effort by all of them, not just Cam Ward. Like, it has to be across the board for them to be able to pull this off as a touchdown plus underdog heading into Denver, with a crowd that's going to be rocking. It's a 2:00 kickoff. The weather's going to be beautiful. You're going to be struggling through elevation and all the other things that we talk about when you play a game at Denver, and a Broncos fan base that thinks they have a Super Bowl contender on their hand. People actually think that they're going to knock off the Chiefs this year. Chargers fans, Broncos fans, they think they've got Kansas City in their sights. So if this happens, it would be crazy. It would be crazy.
Well, I guess maybe that's the silver lining of opening the season with the Broncos, right? Week one, it is the weirdest week of the regular season. Maybe something weird can happen at Mile High Stadium, and the Titans go in there and upset a potential AFC contender. But reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain, who I feel like we haven't talked about. We've talked so much about that front and how much Vance Joseph likes to blitz and what Cam Ward's going to be seeing and what they're going to be disguising. We've barely talked about Pat Surtain II, who is an elite corner in the NFL. And you imagine he's going to be glued to Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. Well, and I think, that, Lucas, you almost by extension talk about the Broncos secondary, including Surtain, when you talk about how often Vance Joseph likes to blitz, because you don't send that kind of pressure if you don't have a secondary that you can't lean on. Yeah. Which is kind of the situation that the Titans are in, because I think Denard Wilson wants to send pressure more often than he actually has been able to, and they can't put their secondary in a spot like that.
So Alec Iomanner listed as a starter on the depth chart. Brian Callahan says he's earned that. Shall we hear from offensive coordinator Nick Holtz from yesterday, talking about moving Calvin Ridley around the lineup?
We shall indeed.
You got to move Calvin around, first of all. I think we'll move him around different formations, which we really got to at different points last year. And then those other guys, they got to make plays versus man and match coverage, right? It's going to be you got to win your one-on-one matchups, and it could be all those receivers. I think they'll all be up. The tight ends are going to be up. The backs are going to be up. And, if they're taking two guys to really take away one guy, the other guy's got to win. That's the numbers are in our favor to win those other matchups if they're taking two for the other guys.
So that's, logical, but you have to have somebody who's capable of doing that. That's a ton of pressure to put on Alec Iomanner.
All right, Iomanner.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, go get him, bud. But, this is what the expectation of all of them is, right? You are an NFL football player now. You are a paid professional. Go out and do the job. Because I see, some comments from, it just says OG on YouTube. It says, Bo Nix is all right, but he's not a world beater. But, I think that's kind of the point. That's kind of what Callahan is referencing. Don't push unnecessarily, right? Don't try to have these superhero moments where you think you can put the team single-handedly on your back and go win a game, because you know who did that or tried to do that with regularity? The last guy. And how'd that go?
Did he, though?
When he's flying out of bounds and breaking chain gang members' legs. Like,
no, there was some of that. There was some of that.
Like,
But
if you talk about players who press, he is a player who presses.
100%. But I stand by the worst Levis moments from last year were not Levis playing hero ball. It wasn't Levis trying to do too much. It was Levis just what he did
malfunctioning.
And like the Chicago and Jets disasters.
Correct.
That's not hero ball. I don't know what it is, but it's not hero ball when the best case scenario of what you're trying to do is still a bad scenario.
But I think my point is that there is equal parts malfunction and also I can do this. Let me do this. Let me go hunt the big play and then, make some of the dumbest decisions you've ever seen in your life from a professional quarterback. Also, they're going to have to lean heavily on Tony Pollard, which is something that Brian Callahan spoke about this morning. Obviously, Tajay Spears will miss the first 4 games of the regular season. Nick Holtz at the podium yesterday speaking about the idea of Tony Pollard having to shoulder yet another heavy workload.
Yeah, I think, remember last year where once Tajay got hurt, Tony got that huge, kind of bulk of the carries, and I do think he wore down with it. He ended up getting the ankle at the end, and he just ended up taking a lot of hits. So we got to get Julius ready to go, Khalil's ready to go, and get those guys ready to take some of it off him. It's at altitude, and it's going to be warm, so we really don't want to, just wear Tony out as early as you can, but at the same time, he's going to be ready to go. And I think he's really handled the ramp up well. He played a little bit early in the preseason, then we took him out for those last 2 games, but you saw against Atlanta, he took a lion's share of the reps and in practice, and then he's kind of really taken the lion's share as we've gone forward.
So that is Nick Holtz speaking about Tony Pollard. It was a career high in rushing for Tony Pollard, but I don't care about that. He was not efficient. That offensive line was not efficient. He was not efficient. So he's just getting volume because they have no choice. Kent on YouTube says Pollard is only 28. He's not old. Yeah, but a year like last year will age you. It will age you, especially when you're just slamming into the back of your offensive line who's already getting pushed back the way that last year's offensive line unit was. They hope this year you can have a better version of the offensive line, leading to a better version of Tony Pollard. Obviously, the ankle situation bogged him down. He was tough to play through it and ended up having a career year in rushing. But the best version of Tony Pollard is not a volume player. You want the ability to have that backfield by committee type of situation that basically every other NFL team not named, who? Baltimore? And who else? And you could argue that Lamar Jackson is the pairing for Derrick Henry there that lets Derrick be the most efficient version.
Keaton Mitchell back healthy
of himself. I was that Ravens. I watched a couple of Ravens preseason games just because they were on. Robert is Keaton Mitchell. I remember him pre-injury being like a spark plug type of player when Gus Edwards was still in the backfield there. But do you believe him to be like a legitimate difference maker?
Difference maker is subjective, but is he a player that can provide explosive plays? Yes. I assume he will be the guy taking any of their gadgetry plays, your end arounds, your double reverses, anything of that ilk. But he does have speed, and he was able to retain that speed through injury, which I think is more impressive than him even coming back. I'm using air quotes where everyone's like, "Oh, Keaton's back, Keaton's back." I don't give a rip if he's back if it's fast, because that's what separated him from being just another Roy, as Coach Mack would call him. The rest of y'all. So he could be a difference maker in the right situation, and I think that's why he's poised to do so, because he has Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. He's not going to be asked to do a ton of things.
Last call for phone calls, if you got them, 615-737-1045. We'll wrap up the show. I'll head out to practice coming up next. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Best hot chicken in the world. Titans are on the practice field, should be on the practice field by now, at least getting some stretching in, and then practice is scheduled to begin right about now. So I'll head out there. We'll get some open locker room. I'll see if I can catch any of the open portion of practice. We're down to regular season rules now, which means for media, the entirety of practice is not open, obviously. It's usually just stretch and the individual periods. Anyone in particular that the two of you want to hear from in the Titans locker room on tomorrow's show, because I'm probably going to go and talk to Alec Iamaner first and foremost. Rookies just generally, first NFL game. Tavondre Sweat, I know, spoke with some media at Monday's open locker room session. I don't know if he will be made available again today, but anybody in particular y'all want to hear from that we can play on the show tomorrow?
Shy
Tuttle?
Yeah, go talk to Shy.
No, we got to get Shy on with Robert on.
You got to, he probably won't open up to Buck. But I did enjoy, did you guys get to see his media scrum at all? He did a big media scrum.
I watched it.
Somebody was like, you look like a little guy next to Sweat. And he was like, little. He just had a nice little chuckle. It's so funny because I remember him
Everybody
as being
looks like a little guy next to Sweat. Sweat is 366 pounds.
Just him being like, I'm not a little boy.
I think he said little guy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I just remember
the two
him
of you
as
were in love with this man, by the way.
he just was a good kid, man. I was a senior when he was a freshman. So when you're a senior and you think you're like the cock of the walk and you go to a party and all of a sudden you see this mass of a man. It's like, Shy, what are you doing here? He's like, I just rode here with boys or rode here. I just know him as a little baby faced kid. So it's cool to see him be a grown ass man that could choke slam me into the ether.
I mean, we are doing Titans player interviews again, and unless they suck and we bail on them like we did last year. Do you want to see if Shy Tuttle will do the radio show tomorrow? I can ask.
Oh,
let's do it.
Okay, and we'll inquire, and we will see if that's going to be a thing.
What's the most embarrassing thing Shy knows about me? Probably the fact, if I'm going to get in front of this and I'm going to cheddar bob something, I used to streak at parties in high school. I used to be, you would see me.
What was your nickname?
Nude Man.
It's not very creative.
Very on the nose.
Or the Naked Ninja. So I would disappear, and then I would come, and I'd run through the house, through one door, and then run out through the other door, and they'd be like, oh, what was that? And I'd be show back up with all my clothes on. So there are... I have no idea.
Who did that?
You mean a medium fat guy just ran through here naked? I had no idea about that.
That's awesome.
So if Shy throws me under the bus for that, I am getting in front of it.
That's fantastic.
Okay, so I'll see if Shy Tuttle will make himself available to talk about you streaking.
Talk about high school parties.
Yeah. Anything like that. I don't know.
Is there anything better, though, than obviously, not in high school anymore, but high school house parties, I think, were my favorite version of parties. I like house parties so much more than I like going places anymore. Maybe I'm just getting old and more crotchety than I normally am. But I think that the high school house party was the peak of the partying experience.
Don't drink underage, kids.
And and we're talking about what is it, dirty sodas? So it's milk and Dr. Pepper or whatever the Mormons do. That's what we were doing in high school, kids. We were definitely not drinking in a field.
Oh, softball fields for sure. Softball fields.
Yeah. What is the? Why would you not just go to a regular field? I feel like it would be way more a chance of you getting caught at a high school softball field than going to an actual field.
I don't remember them being high school softball fields. I just remember there being softball fields in St. Phillips outside of Evansville, Indiana, where you could go and...
Oh, woof. That used to be the drained community pool for us in the wintertime. We'd go and everybody'd party, which is kind of stupid because if cops pulled up, you're stuck in this drained pool. Everybody quick, scramble.
There's no escape.
Yeah.
You're
surround
just
the
stuck
pool.
in it.
Trapped like rats.
God, we were so dumb, man. We were so dumb. I'm glad my mom was an affluent woman.
So I'm sure you two were probably at a party that got busted at some point in your careers. Where is the funniest place that you ever hid from an authority figure, be it parent, police, or otherwise, at a party?
Oh, I've got one if you don't, Lucas.
Go ahead.
So we were all at this party. It wasn't the cops. It was the girl's dad who was coming back home. It's probably 40 people in the basement, and it's stereotypical cool kid basement, pool table, big TV, bar. Dad comes home, highlights or headlights shining through the glass into the basement, and everyone's like, "Oh no, like your dad's home!" So everyone's scattering. Like you hear like the clanging of bottles together. Like people are running out of screen doors. Like there's like cartoons bursting through the wall. And this whole time, I was carrying 2 jugs of moonshine that I had. My whole problem was
flavored or like actual moonshine.
They were straight, but we were terrible children. So. Instead of running out where everyone else was, because there was a log jam to get out of the sliding glass door, I hid under the pool table. So the dad came home. The daughter is like inebriated. Like, "Oh, Dad, I'm so sorry. I don't know where all these people came from. I'm so sorry about this."
Pouring through an explanation.
Yes, and I just hear this dad like talking down to his daughter, like, "How dare you throw a party while we're out of here? How dare you do this?" The whole time I'm like underneath the pool table, like Spider-Man on the ceiling, except for reverse, like waiting. Eventually, like the lights click off. Like I hear like feet going up the steps. I look at my phone and it's 3 hours later, and like the house is finally getting shut down. I didn't have a ride. I had to like call someone to come pick me back up from her driveway. It was terrible. I stole a mounted fish on the way out.
Like a what were those ones that you press the button and they talk and they sing?
Billy Bass.
Billy Bob Bass. Or
yeah,
something
it was a big old catfish. I don't know what we did with that.
Lucas, you have one?
Nothing comes to mind.
Oh, see,
like that. I mean, how's anybody supposed to top stealing a mountain fish out of someone's basement?
Well, that is impressive unto itself, but I almost drowned one time because I hid in a hot tub and pulled the cover over me and did not realize that I would then suffocate myself. So that was very short-lived. And I got busted.
What, you idiot.
Yeah. It's not my finest moment. And I would have gotten away with it too, except for oxygen. All right, let's do some polls. Get out of here.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Which coordinator has the more difficult challenge in Denver? Holtz/Callahan or defensive coordinator Denard Wilson? 86% are going with the offensive side, which I get. You're going up against that Broncos defense, but Denard Wilson has a task at hand, too.
I was just going to say, I think I lean Denard here because so let's say the unthinkable happens and Cam and the offense go crazy, but they can't stop Denver.
Yeah.
Like
That's a strong offensive line you're going up against, too.
Worst case scenario, Cam plays an incredible game and it's squandered because the defense can't get the Broncos off the field.
What was the most surprising development on the Titans depth chart? Just a couple replies here, both saying Alec Ayamaner as a starter.
If you've been paying close attention, I know people are probably just checking back in because it's actual football season now, but I think that's been trending this way for quite some time.
I don't know that there was anything that surprising.
No, I wouldn't say. I mean, to Cedric Gray's credit, he won the job, but I think we've been on that for a couple of weeks now. So.
Who was week 1 most likely a liar for? Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, or Auburn? 54.8%, majority going with Texas. 17.6% say Bama, 15.4% say Auburn, 12.2% say Tennessee. I'd say week 1 is more likely a liar for Tennessee or Auburn in terms of who could come a little bit back down to earth. Unfortunately, week 1 might have been pretty telling for Alabama fans. I don't know how you fix the problems that they showed in the span of the same season, but Texas is the right answer.
Yeah,
here.
Texas, there's too many things there that should go right that just went terribly wrong in that game.
Yeah, against an elite defense in a tough environment, I think Texas is going to be fine. Those are the polls.
Very good. That's the show. Off to practice. Robert and I are back on prime time tonight, 7 p.m. on A to Z Sports. If you're so inclined, we look forward to hanging out there with you, and we'll recap whatever the Titans do say in the locker room after the fact. You can hang out with Blaine and Zach, 3HL, on after that. Have a great rest of your afternoon.